You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Talladega Superspeedway, the Stacy Strong SNN Cup Series is about to go plate racing at our sport's largest oval. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Lincoln, Alabama, where the 2.6-mile Talladega Superspeedway is waiting like a growling black bear in the heart of Disney. If you tuned in last week at Texas Motor Speedway, you got to see Neil Pearson snatch the win away from Derek Heitman in an Old West duel in Fort Worth. Once again, our top four drivers in the point standings maintain their positions, while almost everyone from fifth on back are fighting like inmates in a prison yard. Everyone, with the exception of Eric Papineau, changed positions in our point standings, which we'll take a look at shortly. I'm Dave Regal alongside my good friend Mr. Alan Bergen here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And as always, I'm thrilled to be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And Alan, you picked one heck of a night to join me tonight in the broadcast booth because, as you know, this is my favorite place to go racing.
Yes, and look, you like Talladega like a little kid likes Christmas, but I got to tell you what, I am a sucker for these long races because I raced in the long race earlier on Races Elite, and here I am trading in the fire suit for the shirt and tie for this one here at Talladega with the Sunday Night NASCAR League, and it's great to be back. You know, Matt Meller's doing a great job with you up here in the booth, and it's just fun to be back.
Yeah, and you talk about this being a long race as we get that that race information up here on our screen. 188 total laps tonight here at Talladega. It's 2.66 miles around this piece. Of course, we're going to have stage breaks here in the SNN Cup Series at laps 60 and 120. Drivers are going to have 7 tire sets, laying 6. So they'll start with 1 set and have 6 additional sets for the evening here for all of these 188 laps. So that last segment is going to be about 8 laps longer, and due to cautions or due to the actual stage caution, we're going to see that basically be the same as stage 1. Stage 2 kind of winds up being a little shorter than most, but 76 degrees here during qualifying at Talladega Superspeedway. 109 degrees the track temperature, though. That's the one that we're going to be watching. As we watch track temperature all week long in all of the other races that you and I cover. And, at a place like this, tires aren't as big of a factor, but 3% tire wear at Talladega can be, something like 20% tire wear at a place like Richmond or something short. So, it's still a major factor, and at a place like this, we wind up, getting, let's just say, a little nervous, if you will, once those tires start to wear down, especially on green flag restarts and things like that. As we take a quick peek here at Matt DiCianni. DiCianni, of course, our points leader. We'll get to him momentarily from Chicago here in the 14 machine. Now, right now, as he finishes his second lap, he's kind of taking this one high, so it looks like DiCianni doesn't want to try to go, too deep into the standings. He goes 33rd fastest on his qualifying laps. And, maybe this is just kind of a product of Talladega, but a lot of drivers, especially those who want to try to avoid things, they either, if they know that they've got fast equipment, they try to qualify in that top 10. And if they know that they've got fast equipment, but they want to survive till the end, they're going to qualify in that last 10. So, obviously tonight, a lot of different strategies at play. And, of course, here in this league, we only start with 40 drivers, and we're going to be well over that tonight. So qualifying is going to be a big deal, especially for those drivers that have to race in on time. 40, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 44 drivers here, so 4 of them will not make the cut when the green flag flies, as Matt DiCianni continues his a little bit of practice here after his qualifying attempt. And speaking of DiCianni, we want to take a look here at our point standings. Alan, these drivers, since you were last with me here in the Cup Series, a lot has shuffled and a lot has happened in this league. Take a look here at Matt DiCianni.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 391 points over Sean Rogers there. And I like Matt DiCianni. He's a great driver, but there's only one thing that's wrong with him. It's the fact that he's from Chicago.
Well, you Midwestern boys can exchange recipes for bratwurst, and who decides? I'm assuming that since he's from Chicago, he's more of a Miller High Life guy, where you're more of a Budweiser. See, I can't get this one out of my head. Of course, for those of us that are from southeastern Pennsylvania, we choose America's oldest brewery, the Yuengling Brewery in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, first opened in 1829. But who's counting?
I wouldn't even say that. It's more of a baseball type thing. We cannot be friends during the
That's
during
fine.
the summer.
That's fine. Look, they got theirs. You've got, 48 championships down there.
11.
All right. Well, speaking of championships and teams, we'll take a look here at the we'll take a look here at the championship standings for the teams. TCSP E10 Esports leads the way right now with 1,020. Those drivers have been consistently finishing in the top 5 and top 10 all season long. And as we get ready to rock and roll tonight, they're going to have some kind of challenge from DGR and Ironman Motorsports in the 2 and 3 slots. But, things are really starting to tighten up. In fact, speaking of tightening up, look at the points difference here, between Nolan Hodgson and Patrick Gitter. 1. Count them. 1. 254 for Derek Heitman, 234 for Robert Anderson. I mean, all it's going to take for Anderson to try to leapfrog Heitman is something bad happening to Heitman tonight here at Talladega. And, we're always cognizant of the fact that bad things can happen here at Talladega Super Speedway. And I want to quick pull up. We'll see if we can get a hold of DeCiani. As we look to find him here in the chat, and of course I can't find him. Why would I? Oh, there he is. Let's pull DeCiani on down here. Hey, Matt, it's Dave and Alan up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, man, here we are at Talladega Super Speedway. Of course, the biggest track that we have here on the circuit. And more importantly than that, this is also one of the most treacherous tracks. Obviously, you decided that you were going to try to, hang out here in the top 5 qualifying. Is that going to be the strategy for tonight, or is this going to be a drop back and see everybody else mess up kind of moment?
Looks like we got all our team cars here in the top 6, so we're gonna probably try to stay up front and control the race.
And that being said, I need to know, what's the secret sauce that you guys over at TC, at your team? I mean, you guys, first of all, have gapped everybody else in the team standings by like 400 points, and now all of you are up here in the top 6.
It's just the hard work before the week starts. The 3 of us, me, Patrick, and Derek, do a lot of testing laps and helping us push our setups to where they need to be. So that's the biggest key. But then just the repetitions of seat time, it always helps.
Yeah, practice does make perfect, and we see that time and time again. Especially when I always love when I'm talking to somebody and they say, "Oh, I hate this racetrack," but you finished on the podium. And it turns out that the more, that people hate a specific racetrack, is the more practice that they put in at that racetrack, to be able to succeed there.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. You just got to look at all tracks, pay the same amount of points, and, try to maximize the finish in each of the races.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck tonight, and I'm sure that we're going to see you on the other side of one of these stages.
All right, man. Sounds good. You guys have a good race.
Absolutely. So we're going to move him back on up here into the TCSP E10 Esports live chat. Alan, what are you thinking about? You've driven this track a couple of times this week, and of course the public forums. What are you thinking about as a driver coming in here?
As a driver, I'm thinking I'm one of those guys that it takes a lot of discipline, but let's hang out in the back and see what happens. Let's let the race come to us, and we'll just see what happens and avoid the calamity.
Yeah, calamity is probably a really good way to put that.
That's all we can do, really. Now, I did lose a truck race by 4/1000ths of a second, and we may or may not have a picture of that, but that's for a different day.
Well, and those 4/1000th of a second at a place like this, really, as you go through the entire race and you're sitting there and you're watching everybody kind of battle it out, that 4/1000ths of a second is depressing sometimes, as you come down to it. I mean, we're going to see some incredible racing tonight. There's going to be 4 wide at some points of the race. They're going to be nose to tail, as we see right here, as we look here at Tanner Marty pushing the deuce of Dalton Mobley down here. I mean, let's look right here from the bumper cam as we look back. I mean, we're going to be seeing this all night long, and this is insane. You've got a rear view mirror full of another driver who is pushing you, and at this point, it's Tanner Marty pushing Dalton Mobley through the turns. I mean, a good drafting partner will do that all night long for you.
And the one thing, the other thing too I noticed, Dave, and we mentioned this at Daytona, and even as far as the iRacing Super Speedway, is use that outside line, and then the guy that's leading that outside line dumps the outside line like a fat girl at the prom, and bails on that and gets onto that inside line. So expect a lot of that going on, but you're really definitely going to need help from your friends, and we're going to use the word cooperation.
Cooperation is right, and of course, speaking of now you got me saying it. Cooperation, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the youtube.com live chat. Looks like NASCAR number 12 saying hello, Dcash Videos. That, of course, is Alexander Gangler. And my little guy, David Jr., he's saying hi, Dad, there. So, Bubba, go ahead, tune in. This is going to be fun tonight, buddy. We're going to see some great racing. I mean, this is the kind of place that made me fall in love with racing. I mean, back during that 4 wins in a row for Dale Earnhardt Jr., when I was just coming into enjoying and appreciating racing, this was the place that every week, every year that we went here, I was like, oh, my goodness, this is going to be great. And sure enough, it was. And I see somebody here with no paint on their car, and I don't think that's supposed to be. So let's see if we can quick refresh that. Now they all have no paint on their car. Take that. As everything's going to have to get reloaded. It's always interesting when I see somebody. I'm not sure if that was Dylan Banks or who that was. Oh, goodness, now it's not going. There they go. Slowly popping back in. I hate when that happens, but I'd rather have it happen now than right before we throw the green flag, which we'll do in about a minute and a half here. As we look here at this oval, 33-degree banking. It takes a minimum of all but 75 miles an hour just to stay up on that banking. I mean, listen, I know, Alan, that you're a dirt guy. What do you think the translation between dirt and this mess is?
Oh, well, so, look, Talladega, okay, so on the dirt side, the race that everybody wants to win so badly is that Dream 100 Eldora, right? So essentially, look at it like this. It's like a party where a race breaks out, right? So as far as the racing goes here, this is the one that you want to win. This is just as equally as big as Daytona, and just as equally as big as the Dream 100 or the Syracuse race there, or that they now do at Oswego there. Yep, the 200 lapper. Well, which phenomenal races.
Here are our qualifying results. Of course, we're just waiting for everybody to hop into their cars, as it does look like we're going to have a couple of drivers not make the cut. Timothy Cook, Rafael Rodriguez, and Alexander Gangler should be a charter driver, so we may see him hop in here, but it looks like John Crow Sr., Bennett Allen, Rich Jett, Timothy Cook, and Rafael Rodriguez still have yet to hop into the cars as we're waiting for everybody to grid up. But that top 24 already sliding in here, so let's take a peek at our starting lineup. Patrick Gitter sits on the front row alongside Bobby Anderson. The Charlotte, North Carolina neighbor, going to be our pole sitter when the green flag flies. Out of Mansfield is Bobby Anderson here in the 18. Matt Long going to be in row number 2. Just inside of points leader Matt DiCiani. Derek Heitman and Randy Belk in row number 3. While Dylan Banks and Kavaja Holt hold down row number 4. Anthony Savignano and my brother from another mother from the 305, Mr. Randall Watkins here in the 27. He's going to be starting in row number 5. R.J. Root makes his return here from Gloucester, Virginia in row number 6 alongside of Diego Rodriguez, while Nolan Hodgson and Noah Hamilton are going to be side-by-side in row 7. Tane Hodgson and Michael Witt in row number 8, while row 9 going to feature Eric Papineau out of Williamsburg, Virginia, and Cape May, New Jersey's very own Mike McConville. Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, PA, and Mike Pratchett from Youngstown, Ohio, starting row number 10, while row 12 going to have Dalton Mobley and Keith Long. Matt Mackin and Richard Pruitt going to be in row 12, while Seba Cornez and Tanner Marty hold it down in row 13. Matt Gaskins and Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here in the SNN Cup Series. Chris Claude starting row number 14, while Sean Rogers and Chad Sanner in row 15. Row 16 going to feature Ron Fitting and Paul Hill with Tyler Sexton and Mark Johnson in row 17. And starting shotgun on the field tonight in the 80 machine, as I'm waiting for all of these drivers to get themselves lined back up here. Hey, gentlemen, we got a race to go. Is going to be John Wilco. So as we go back here to the front of the pack, there's only one thing that I'm waiting for, and that's to see the man in the stand hold that green flag in his hand as we wait for the field to come through 3 and 4. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen ready to bring you all of the action here tonight on Sim Racing Media. I know that this is the beginning of what's usually a busy week for you and I, so it's nice to settle in here on Sunday evening as the iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. We remind everybody that, of course, the start-finish line is actually past the apex of the tri-oval here. So we're just waiting to get there as we come into the tri-oval itself. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab the roll tide, sunscreen, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time!
Couldn't have done that any better. Patrick Gitter going to be getting the hold shot there, as he's got the inside line working pretty well.
Yeah, Patrick Gitter's going to lead us here in the 21. He's got Bobby Anderson on the outside, and Anderson here, just as we go ahead and drop down onto his nose, he's going to see exactly what's going to happen here. Is he's only just gotten up to 5th gear. That means that there's a lot of speed locked up here in the 18. That high side's going to have to work pretty hard to try and get everybody settled in. And we saw that earlier in today's race, that the high line took a little bit of time to come in, but once they got themselves organized, they became that traditional feeder for a super speedway as we come here to Talladega. Of course, Talladega is still considered a restrictor plate race, even though that we don't need the restrictor plates anymore on the carburetors. But as we work lap number 2, Patrick Gitter going to be your race leader, followed by Matt Long, Derek Heitman, Dylan Banks, and Diego Rodriguez, your top 5. They are single file here on the low side. But don't look now, as we were just riding along with him is Bobby Anderson here in the 18.
Bobby Anderson falling back 9th now. But Dave, I'm looking to see when Derek Heitman and Patrick Gitter get connected, because those are 2 Team Conti cars right there, and they've worked very hard all week long in this race, and they're going to be getting hooked up here fairly shortly and doing what they do.
Absolutely. As we take a look here from the blimp cam, we can start to see Randall Watkins drifting a little high here out of the low side, maybe trying to burp that engine some, as of course there's no grill tape here, but maybe Dalton Mobley could be a shover here. He decides to stay low, but Mobley is suddenly going to overtake half this low line. We're going to ride along with him, ride a little bit closer to him. Keep an eye on Mobley being shoved down here by Keith Long in the 71. They've got it together here on the high side as we turn lap number 3 coming out of turn 4. And it looks like everybody keeping it pretty real here as we work our way toward the end of stage number 1 at lap number 60. Taking a peek here at our track temperature now that we've gone into race trim, 108 degrees on the asphalt. So that's going to allow for some incredible speed here in these cars as we take a look right here at Dalton Mobley's dashboard, 192, 93, 94. And that's coming out of the turn and down the back chute. Watch him creep up higher to 198, 199. He breaks 200 and goes from 203 to 201 into the turn. Now, while all of that's going on, Sean Rogers here in the 44. Of course, I know Amanda Price usually cheering him on in our live chat. We're going to ride along here with Sean Rogers now. He's going to be cranked up beyond 200 miles per hour going into turn 1. I mean, this takes nerves of steel going in here because you've got cars on the high side and the apron here on your low side. One false move, one fart, and you're done.
And you know, a lot of these guys are great drafting partners. These are guys that you really want behind you. You're trying to make your way to the front. I mean, 38 of the best here tonight, and wow, I'm just at all.
Yeah, these drivers, there she is, Amanda Price cheering on Sean Rogers. Big Mac here says, feel free to pull the one car in the booth anytime. Yeah, listen, McConville, I'll get you. I'll get you when I get around to it. And, of course, we want to remind everybody to tune in every night of the week. We'll talk about that just a moment here. In fact, let's do it now. Why don't we? Since I've worked hard on this today. We've got 6 nights of racing here on Sim Racing Media. We'll talk about this a couple of times here, but a couple of featured races coming up this week. Of course, tomorrow night, I'll be right back here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series booth with the Xfinity Series live at Talladega tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Then, of course, Tuesday at 10:20 Eastern Time is the Western States Racing League. They'll be down at Charlotte. The Rick Motec Cup Series is going to be road racing at COTA at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, Circuit of the Americas, down there in Austin, Texas. I'll be back on the air again for Racers Elite at Dover on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And then, of course, ISNF going to be Saturday at Dover as well. And, of course, you know, Racers Elite and ISNF being at Dover Thursday and Saturday just kind of sets the table for us here in this league because, of course, we're going to be at Dover all next week in the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. And I don't know about you, but even though that it's kind of a home track for me, just about 2 hours down the road in Dover, Delaware, Dover's always been a cool place to catch a race.
Yeah, it's going to be just as fun to drive that place on Thursday night as we're starting to work practice laps in. I'm excited for tomorrow night, Dave. I will be on the air tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for the Sunday Cup League, and that series is going to Bristol.
Bristol, are you going to be on dirt or asphalt down there?
Asphalt.
Thank goodness, because the dirt model was ridiculous. I mean, I know that that's your thing, but it just doesn't belong at Bristol. But I'll tell you what does belong. Randy Belk pushing Matt DiCiani here down the back chute. We can see these drivers now starting to form that high line. And as that high line starts to gain more and more momentum, we're going to see them basically become a feeder, where Patrick Gitter here currently kind of defending his lead. Whoa! All of a sudden, the 76 of Heitman just shifts himself to the high line. That leaves a gap there. Whoa! The 69 of Diego Rodriguez finds the bump, and he starts rocking and rolling here on the low side. He manages to keep it together. Basically, and this is an incredible time if you really look at it, it's less than a second from 1st to 20th. It's 0.8 of a second from 1st to 20th. Then we've got another group forming back here led by Tane Hodison. We haven't talked about this second group in a little while. But Tane Hodison here in the 93. He's got himself, there it is, come on, from Brunswick, Maine. Now he's going to let what looks to be Ken Ron get around him. I still can't see who that is that's running with no paint at all.
Casper.
Perhaps. Looks like Noah Hamilton out of Colorado Springs. He's decided that he wants to go, well, kind of hat in hand, give this guy a sponsor is what he's saying here. And they've got the 17 they have the 17 of Eric Papineau just behind, and then another group of Angry Hornets led by Richard Pruitt. So really there are 3 groups out here. Now this third group has absolutely every chance in the world to try to, dance up here as we're going to go on the nose of Pruitt's machine. He's going to start to close that gap between himself and Papineau as we look here at the time delta. As we're going to look from the rear of Papineau, we can see that gap is slowly closing up here. So things are going to look good, at least for Pruitt once he gets drafted up. Here he comes to Papineau as we work lap number 11 here at Talladega Superspeedway. Dave Riegel and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And, as much as I know that Tony used to hate coming to Superspeedways because, like you, he was a dirt fanatic, this was always the place that he kind of let me off my chain for a little while and let me just run my jibs, because I love this stuff.
I love dirt race. Look, I'm a connoisseur of all things dirt, but I do like a good super speedway race. It kind of breaks up the monotony, right? Look, we have, as you would call, crappy beer in St. Louis, but what do you have in St. Louis is a dirt track within an hour in each direction of us. So Tony would love it here in St. Louis because he go watch a dirt race and drive an hour to go see one in each direction.
Well, and he was from up there in Syracuse, so he wasn't that far away from Oswego, of course, which was, always his mecca. And for years, he was trying to get me to go up there. As now we've had a connection issue. First one of the night. Usually that means something bad has happened on the racetrack, but it turns out not to have been. And in fact, we'll pre-warn you folks, sometimes at racetracks like this that are this large with this many cars on them, we experience connection issues from our internet service providers. And it says, PDS International, this charter system sucks. It's ridiculous. Well, I understand, but that happens in real life too. The charter system affects people every day in NASCAR. I'm sure there are some very talented drivers that are not on a charter, and unfortunately, they get dealt the short end of the stick. Keeping an eye right here on Diego Rodriguez here on the low side. He's just underneath the 7 of RJ Root. And RJ making his return here to the SNN fold once again. First of all, if you've ever seen RJ race, he's just kind of like a lion in waiting. He's not ready to go yet, and he won't be for about another 150 laps. But when he goes, you'll know it.
All I gotta say is, don't hate the player, hate the game. On the charter system. And RJ Root does RJ Root things.
Yeah, RJ Root is one of those drivers that, for years now in SNN, we've watched him dominate certain races, especially those short tracks. But super speedways, he's usually just kind of waiting everybody out as we watch Matthew Gaskins drafting up to the rear of the 94. That's Chad Sanner. 2 longtime racers here in this league, while they've got Mike McConville in his rookie season here in the SNN Cup Series with that Steve Park #1 paint scheme. Tell you what, talk about the heyday of plate racing for DEI. That was one of the first teams to really start developing an incredible super speedway program at DEI.
Yes, that takes me back a long, long time. And I love nostalgia, right? I love going back in time. It's like a hobby. And I like making what is old is new. Right? So
I'm waiting to see where you're going with this one, pal. Cut to the chase. This is a race.
But it's not a sprint. So that's just my point. I love going back in the time and seeing these old paint schemes come back, like the 3-car and going to North Wilkesboro. I just love nostalgia.
Well, and this place just it eschews all kinds of memories for me. I know where I was the first time I saw Dale Jr. hoist the trophy here at Talladega, and of course, Dale Earnhardt with that final win at Talladega. That car was actually revived for last year as Richard Childress took it around the speedway here as Patrick Gitter, still the Pied Piper of Lincoln, Alabama. There's actually a museum just outside of turns 3 and 4 here, the NASCAR Museum. Kind of interesting. It was kind of a precursor to what now has become the Hall of Fame in Charlotte. With a charge, Dalton Mobley running up here, plus 17. He looks like he wants to give Patrick Gitter a run for his money. And you have to understand, at this point, Patrick Gitter has kind of been a fuel pig for everybody else here, as he has led this race for so long. Eventually, he's going to have to get out of the way and let somebody else lead for a little while, because he has been full throttle this whole time, holding Derek Heitman and Matt DiCianni behind him. Hey, easy there, big fella. The interesting thing is the leader winds up slightly slower than the cars behind him, and he's full throttle, while the cars behind him, due to the draft, are actually keeping themselves, a little bit faster. with less throttle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is you really want to work the throttle if you're that third, fourth, or even fifth car in line. You really want to work that throttle, and you don't want to be full throttle going down the straightaways. But if you're Patrick Gitter, you can't push that thing through the floor hard enough.
No, right now Gitter's just trying to avoid being run over by Heitman and DeCiani, because believe you me, I mean, listen, it's nice to have your teammates behind you, but at a moment's notice, bad things could happen. As Gitter, Heitman, and DeCiani all linked up here atop the pile. We work lap number 18 of 188, so just about a tenth of the way there through this race. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight here on YouTube.com and around the world. There's not a whole lot of folks with us tonight yet, so make sure that you call your friends. And I mean, listen, just because it's Talladega doesn't mean that we don't have exciting racing going on here tonight. Let us know who you're pulling for and what you're watching tonight. And, of course, make sure that you subscribe. Turn on those bell notifications so that you can be notified every time we go live here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we've got 6 nights of racing every night of the week this week.
We do. You know, and looking ahead in the schedule here for the Sunday Night NASCAR League, I'm really excited for St. Louis once we get back to Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Oh, Gateway.
That is a home race for me.
You know, that's one of those racetracks. Oh, another connection issue. It's going to happen soon. We're going to watch the entire field blink out one of these times. You just watch. As we're going to go back here to Ken Ron and watch this little group that he's had. It's slowly but surely building into a second pack now. Chris Claude right in the middle of things. Of course, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer out of Fairview, Tennessee. There it is. Of course, Chris does all things SNN. He eats, sleeps, and breathes this league from February through November, and we can't be more thankful enough for him and the work that he puts in here to, you know, make all of these things happen. Of course, all of these broadcasts possible. Mike Pratchik kind of running all by himself, as well as Alexander Gangler, not necessarily running all by himself, but he's holding on desperately here, as Pratchik would be the lucky dog this time around as the pack leads themselves by. Pratchik gets out of the way, so right now it goes Gitter, Heitman, DeCiani, Randy Belk, and Dalton Mobley, your top 5. And that's going to start to bother me.
It's called the Talladega Glitch.
Yeah, we'll call it that. I was going to
nickname.
call it something that started with a B, but sounds like glitch. As the 97 of Matt Long gives a bump to Dalton Mobley. We're going to ride along here with Long. And we see him right behind Dalton Mobley. We're going to look from both sides here. We see Long with the 70. That's Dylan Banks behind him. Banks is going to have to draft up closer to the rear, and that's going to enable, as soon as he makes that, there's that bump, and now that enables Matt Long to make this bump. And this is called bump drafting, folks, and what that is that the car behind you, at this speed, you're able to just kind of bump one another gracefully down the racetrack. All of a sudden, that top line just dumped right in front of Dalton Mobley. So they have found a new way around this racetrack, and Matt Long is drafting right up behind Dalton Mobley in that DGR number 2 Chevrolet Camaro as we head down the back chute. They're starting to snake, and that's starting to get dangerous here. As we just saw a couple of drivers, there they are, snaking themselves down the backstretch. Sometimes it's just a quick wiggle of the glove, but you don't want to take all of that momentum away from yourself when you step out of line like that.
One thing I learned earlier in the day is that the Chevys and Toyotas draft really well together. Not leaving out the blue oval bunch, but if you're a Ford and you drive, or if you're a Chevy guy and you got a Toyota behind you, you're probably going to be in pretty good shape. Because now the front ends really kind of just match up.
As we're waiting for our great friends at Xfinity Internet to catch up with this race. Wow, there's a whack from Derek Heitman right up into Patrick Gitter's tailpipe, if it was there. My goodness. All of a sudden, Matt DeCiani in hot pursuit here. things kind of settled down here early in this race, as we've been caution free now for 23 laps. I don't want to jinx it, but I still have to mention it. You know, and you talk about the manufacturers. It's all Chevys and Fords here in this league, right up until you get back to Noah Hamilton. The first Toyota in this league tonight is back in 24th position. And of course, he has no paint scheme. An interesting stat that I heard earlier today, and I guess it didn't even dawn on me, but Ford has not gotten a win in the real life Cup Series yet this season.
No. It's been all Chevys or Toyotas.
Gonna need some things to calm down here, folks.
Get a little squirrely. Too early in the race for going to 3 wide and getting impatient.
Taking a look back here at Ken Ron, he leads this second group ahead of Keith Long, Tane Hodison, and Noah Hamilton. As I'm just trying to give the computer some time to catch up with the internet feed. 25 laps in the books tonight. But as I was talking about, this league very Chevy heavy. As we look here at the last lap times, I mean, you know, all of these drivers at 49.02, they're less than a second slower than their fast times earlier on in this race.
Yeah, so Patrick Gitter right there. Look, I like talking about him a lot. I like Derek Hyman. Those Team Connie cars are finally hooked up, and they're gonna bail off and go down pit road altogether here on lap 25. And that's essentially gonna turn the race over.
Here they come down pit lane. And, of course, we're having a connection issue as iRacing and Xfinity want to fight. We were talking about this off-air as I was with Chris Claude. And this has got to be just this side of the most frustrating thing in all of iRacing. So we see here just about halfway through stage 1, all of these drivers coming on down pit road. That's going to start this green flag pit cycle. Dylan Banks now leads the way.
I'll trade your Xfinity internet for Spectrum.
Right now, I'd trade it for a Klondike bar if it would give me a clear picture. And here comes the next round of green flag pit stops led by Diego Rodriguez in the 69. It's going to be Rodriguez, Holt, Savignano. This will help things a little bit as they're going to spread themselves out. Randall Watkins and Paul Hill, they all come down pit road, but Dylan Banks stays ahead of the pack with Dalton Mobley in tow, the 97 of Matt Long, and Michael Witt in the 88, teabagging behind the 97 of Matt Long. He's got to let the teabag steep. Hot water. That's what the instructions say. I'm just reading the instructions. I don't know why everybody laughs. It's part of the instructions. Let the tea bag soak in hot water. I guess I will.
I buy the Keurig cups.
You would.
What? I got a Keurig. Might as well use it.
Fair point. Ken Ron leading this second pack back here as they're starting to cycle themselves up slightly closer to that lead pack here as we work lap number 28 of 188. Dylan Banks, our new race leader for the time being. He's leading Dalton Mobley, Matt Long, Michael Witt, and Chad Sanner. I'm going to be curious to see how much longer these drivers can stay out because you have to remember that they were back there kind of saving fuel while, Patrick Gitter was leading the way for so long. And this racetrack is so big that once you get separated by, such a large distance, you can wind up in a lot of trouble. We're going to take a quick peek here at Matt Mackin and see what happened as it looks like he has stepped off the racetrack. Looks like he's got the Colonel behind him. Oh!
Landscaping Services.
Brought to you by Preen.
Mackin just saved them a lot of money, like Geico, on their landscaping needs. And
Dylan
here's
Banks and Dalton Mobley leading the way here, as it's going to be Banks, Mobley, Long, Witt, and Sander, your top 5. They've got to come in at some point, but I think they probably saved about 6 laps of fuel by being able to be less than 100% throttle. And Mobley's got to be careful behind Banks because he's not hitting him directly in the rear where he needs to go. In fact, let's go right here to the nose cam of Dalton Mobley. He was just on those right tail lights of the 70 as they make their way around Randall Watkins.
He needs to get squared
he
up
gives him
a
the
little bit
bump
more.
down the back chute. Another bump. Oh. That deuce of Dalton Mobley was just playing with fire.
One bad bump and it spells trouble for everybody.
And here they come.
Nope, not all of them.
Not everybody, but it's going to be enough. They're going to hang Gaskins out here with Chad Sanner. I don't know if this was planned or what the deal was, but that's going to hang them out to dry like Aunt Betty's laundry in the backyard. Dylan Banks, Matt Long, Bobby Anderson, Dalton Mobley, they're all down. Mike McConville. That leaves Gaskins and Sanner atop the pile, but Ken Ron suddenly is basically here with that Penn Central rail line, leading the Express back to the front of the pack.
Ken Ron, wow. What an amazing race that this guy's having so far. You go back to the car that got left out to dry like Aunt Betty's laundry. And, I think he might have thought that he wasn't going to make it down pit road safely without getting a penalty. So it's best just to bail and go around again.
Not a bad thought. As Gaskin, Sanner, Hodison, Noah Hamilton, Eric Papineau, Richard Pruitt, Seba Cornez, Tanner Marty, and Chris Claude all come down. Ken Ron stays the course with Keith Long, and they stay atop the pile with Rich Jett and John Wilco behind. Now, Rich Jett leading another small pack here behind Ron and Long. And I'm going to start to be wondering whether or not John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. You heard me correct, folks. Representing the 570 is John Wilco, running in 4th position right now. We see him here as right now running the timing tower is just the side of useless as everybody shuffles their way around the racetrack. This pit cycle opened at lap number 25 with that first group. DiCianni and all of those guys from Team Conti came down. And here we are on lap 33, still going through pit cycles as we're going to pull up that pit strategy. All of these drivers up here with 31 and 32 laps on their tires. This is one of those times, Alan, where you got to start to get worried.
Yeah, so here's the thing too, Dave, is, I would say the tires are, if you catch a caution, right now it's going to be gas and go. And, we see, it's 188 laps, but it's also 500 miles. 188 laps, you wouldn't think would be a long time, but you gotta think longer. And these guys are making deals since the start of the green flag.
Timothy Cook coming down pit road now for his scheduled pit stop here on lap number 34. So this pit way, hey, easy there, big fella. Let's back up and get in the right box a little bit more. Beep, beep, beep. He was just the side of saying, screw it, and trying again.
That is the costly mistake that you don't want to make on pit road, especially during green flag situations.
Well, and he's got to get out of there fast because Ken Ron is still coming around here with Keith Long, Paul Hill, and Diego Rodriguez. Some of the other drivers not to come down pit road just yet. Timothy Cook off pit road. Ron Fitting doing the same back in 38th position. So a lot of these drivers, as we get to just past halfway in stage 1, have now completed their pit cycle. That's going to prep Derek Heitman into being our race leader, as Patrick Gitter going to be behind him, RJ Root in tow as well. So they're just waiting for Ken Ron and Keith Long to come on down pit road. As we're here on Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action, brought to you by Stacy Strong, and of course Tricia's Hope. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight as we're working lap number 35. I'm Dave Regal, he's Alan Bergen, and this is Sim Racing Media.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway, where Derek Heitman leads the way as green flag pit stops have been completed. Paul Hill and Diego Rodriguez still not registering, having come down pit road, but that might just be a timing and scoring blip, if you will. Derek Heitman with Patrick Gitter and RJ Root running closely in tow here. 1, 2, 3 they go. 38 laps in the books. We're working our way toward lap number 60. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth, as we are every Sunday night. Of course, Matt Metler taking the week off for some personal things to do. I get it. So fortunately, Alan was kind enough to decide to jump into the lion's mouth and hang out with me for the night.
It's always fun to hang out with you. I miss hanging out with you. As we are on lap 39, and as I mentioned earlier, I got June 2nd circled on my calendar to hopefully make it back in here with you and Matt, and you know, as that's a home race for me, as we had the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And look, I'm a good sport, so that could be a fun race.
Riding along here with Paul Hill as he looks to try to get this bottom line fed on up here. We see just to the right, we can see RJ Root, Patrick Gitter, and Derek Heitman. They're starting to get further away from the pack behind them. They're going to have to, there it is, get some help from Matt DiCiani, who runs right now timed in P5. So it's still anybody's race. I mean, really, the race hasn't even started. If you watch today's race over on Fox and our good friends over there, they didn't even start racing until it was about 4 to go.
You're not wrong.
What a finish that race was. You and I got a chance to watch it together, and I mean, I was all but standing up here in my seat just, you know, screaming. I mean, it was exciting.
Look, they'll sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge, right?
Look, I told you something was going to happen crazy. I told you that the 10 was going to try to make a move, and as soon as McDowell dropped down to block, that's when the proverbial dynamite was blown up on the front stretch.
We're watching this Hornet's Nest right here, and I got a feeling that something's going to pop off before the end of the stage here.
Dalton Mobley running back here in the second pack. He's got Chad Center, Seba Cornez, and Tanner Marty in tow. They have Tane Hoddison, Michael Witt, Matthew Gaskins, all the way back to Noah Hamilton here in the white number 84. We're going to have to talk to Noah about his car and see what in the world is going on with that tonight. As Steve Herring leads the third pack tonight. He's got Rich Jett, John Wilco, Richard Pruitt, Eric Papineau, Chris Claude, Ken Ron, Keith Long, Randy Belk, and Randall Watkins in tow. So 3 distinct groups on the racetrack tonight. As we look through this from above, and this is just whoa, easy there, big fella. As we see the 77 of Rich Jett pushing along the 89. Now that's Steve Herring. And they've got Colonel Sanders back there in the 80 just behind them. That's Mark Johnston. Mark Johnston right now would be scored as Timothy Cook right now would be scored as the lucky dog, and he's running up here in the lead pack. So he's hoping for a caution. Of course, nobody wants to really see the caution, let's be real. But, at the same time, if there's one person that's hoping for a caution, it's Timothy Cook.
That's the only guy right now on the track that wants a caution. Nobody else does. As easy. That's so nerve-wracking when you're at a super speedway and you see a lap car all by himself.
Yeah, that's Ron Fitting up here. Ron has tucked himself up against the safer barrier on the backstretch to try to stay away from everybody, as they are too wide back from Kavaja Holt and Paul Hill, as Hill here in the 6 rides just underneath Kavaja. He's got Matt Long behind him in the 97, giving him the shove coming from that energy off the nose of Bobby Anderson here in the 18. We'll take a look right here from Bobby Anderson, kind of in the thick of things. And we see that 00 of Kavaja Holt with Tricia's Hope Ford Mustang just behind the 14 of Matt DiCiani. It's starting to get dicey, but these drivers are just so good.
You don't want to catch a bad bump.
No, one bad bump and it's all over for everybody.
I mean, it's hard to get these guys to square up, and as you're watching these guys come down that short stretch to the tri-oval, these guys aren't messing with the wheel. That's how turbulent the air is. So, Dave, if you ride behind if you're on the interstate in your family car and you're riding behind a tractor trailer, that's what that feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick peek here. Oh, that didn't work. We're going to watch the hands here from our gyro cam of Bobby Anderson. And we can see Anderson holding it steady here on the front stretch and barely having to move the wheel coming into turns 3 and I'm sorry, that's the back stretch. Barely having to turn the wheel coming into 3 and 4. Anderson holds it steady one more time here, and he's got to be about, even though as uncomfortable as it may be as he gives the bump to the 97, he's also got to be, at this point, one of the safest drivers on the racetrack to be around.
Well, I can tell you right now, if I'm in the front of this line, I'm yelling on the race radio to the 97, bump me, bump me, bump me, bump me. I'll hold the wheel straight, and these guys are white knuckling these wheels. Try to peel the wheel out of these guys' cold dead hands.
Oh no, this is where your knuckles are whiter than WB Mason Blizzard paper. Derek Heitman, our race leader, playing Pied Piper of Lincoln, Alabama here. He's got teammate Patrick Gitter just behind him, but Paul Hill suddenly being shoved to the front of the race of the pack. He's got a chance here all of a sudden to lead as he and the 97, they have been bump drafting this entire section of the segment of the stage. And it's almost like Hill just doesn't have enough to try to get up here and give Heitman a run for his money.
There goes Anderson. He's bumping along.
They are tighter than a snare drum.
I mean, good luck sticking a piece of paper between those two cars.
What are you, an NFL referee trying to determine if it's a first down for the Cowboys? Paul Hill, all of a sudden our race leader, he gets shoved. Oh, go figure. Come on, iRacing. This isn't the time.
As these guys are working their way out of three. Derek Heitman's going to take the lead in that 21 car. And he's got Patrick Gitter. And, I just got to wonder how many times these guys are going to swap the lead. Because for a while there, for the first half of the stage, it was all Patrick Gitter. Now it's all Derek Heitman.
48 laps in the books. We're going to be 12 to go in stage one this time by, as Derek Heitman and now Paul Hill being scored in P2 for the time being. Hill taking another bump from Matt Long. And, I say he's taking a bump. I realize that it's not, your local VFW bathroom and not that kind of a bump. If we were in Miami, that'd be a different thing. If somebody said they were taking a bump in Miami, I'd be a little bit worried and probably contacting the nearest drug rehab.
Okay, so you could go WWE bump?
No.
Or
Derek Heitman leads us down the back chute here as he comes out of turn 2. Of course, now everything wants to blink again. I guess we should have had a seizure warning at the beginning of the broadcast tonight.
maybe put out a if you get epileptic seizures or have a heart condition, you cannot watch this race.
Trust me. Speaking of heart conditions, you and I were talking about Tony Burt's win in the Truck Series last February at Daytona. And speaking of hearts, I want to let everybody know to keep him in your heart and keep him in your thoughts and prayers, as the great Tony Burt, driver, the number 4 Chevrolet Camaro here in the Cup Series. He's been dealing with some medical issues, and he just needs a lot of prayer and some healing. So if you folks are folks of faith, just make sure to add him to your prayer list.
Amen. Couldn't say it any better.
Tony Burt is just one of those people who, no matter where he is in the race, as soon as I key up and I talk to him, it's, hey, Dave. He's never upset. I mean, I know when he's upset, but, it's very hard to tell when he's upset because he is just such an even-keeled human being and such a good human being, such an incredible, an incredible guy. Has a heart that's as big as this racetrack and then some. And, it hurts to know that he's at home in pain and, just needs a little bit of help.
Sometimes listening to you, Dave, could be the best medicine.
Yeah, I've heard that literally in one of my race chats. I don't know if that's therapeutic or if it. You know what? Here's why it's the best medicine. You think to yourself, poof, you might call me crazy, but I'm not this guy crazy. Can you believe somebody really said that I was therapeutic?
Well, I think you're therapeutic. Look,
I'm still cheering on the 44 as we are working green flag lap number 52. We've had nearly a clean stage here as we close in on stage 1. I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like bad things might have happened further back in the field.
Those Team Conti cars. Derek Heitman, I think he's gonna be hard to beat here at Talladega, though. Whoa! Easy, easy, easy.
And here they go sideways. What in the world was that?
Synchronized spinning. We're gonna stay green now.
we stay green. Unfortunately, folks, iRacing timing and scoring didn't pick it up because it was trying to calculate too fast, and I have no idea what happened there here on lap number 53. Write that down. Write that down.
Got it.
That's a game we currently play at work. Dave has a memory like a colander. Everything just runs out of it. Write that down. I can't remember if somebody told me to make this phone call or do that or do this, but darn it, I can tell you how many home runs Michael Jack Schmidt had. I can tell you how many hits Pete Rose had. And I can do the countries of the world like Yakko York. But if you ask me if I called so-and-so earlier off in the day, I'll be like, crap, I forgot.
It's called selective hearing. Here we go. I thought it was going to pop off there just a little bit ago, but we got lucky.
Riding along here with Paul Hill, looking up at Derek Heitman and Patrick Gitter as we've got about 6 to go this time by at the line. Paul Hill, come on, there we go, getting another helpful bump from Matt Long in the 97. They have been working together all night, and I mean, to be fair, they're doing a pretty good job of it, even when the connection issue here is really starting to frustrate me.
You'll have that on them big jobs.
Every super speedway, doesn't matter where it is. First of all, it usually brings out everybody and their cousin to the racetrack. Dylan Banks suddenly down pit road, and Seba Cornez listed as crashed. Let's see what happened with Seba. Here's Seba in the 59. And now apparently Tim is blinking, and I don't know what happened with Seba, but I don't see a crash. All of a sudden, he's got like 12 cars on either side of him. Yeah, timing and scoring is high as a kite, and I thought yesterday was April 20th.
No.
56 green flag laps in the books. Paul Hill still trying to get that low line organized, and, you know, At Daytona, we generally see that happen where the low line has all of the blocking and all of the speed, and the high line becomes the feeder. But at this point, that low line just can't get itself going, and they're the more organized here at this racetrack tonight.
Yeah, that just goes to show you the tale of two lines. Imagine, on the interstate, I call this tailgating, but here it's called drafting. I'm sure you get a ticket for doing this kind of driving on your local highway. Go down I-95 and tell the officer, I wasn't tailgating, I was drafting. I'm trying to get there quicker. Let me know how that works out. That's Heitman and Gitter and RJ Root doing RJ Root things, and he's just glued to the back bumper of Patrick Gitter.
Riding along here with RJ Root. Well, for the moment. Okay. All right. Comment it. Yep. Nope. There it is. There's RJ out of Gloucester, Virginia. He's trailing behind Derek Heitman and Patrick Gitter. We come onto the front stretch. 2 to go this time by, as RJ looks to just kind of keep himself tucked here behind Gitter and Heitman. We're not going to see him make any kind of aggressive move. He's usually, once upon a time, I might have thought that he was going to get aggressive. Whoa, the 21 just got a little gust of wind here down the back chute as he follows teammate Derek Heitman. And one more time we see the 6 car trying to get a run here. It seems like every time Paul Hill gets pushed up to P2, that top line just starts to charge again. This is starting to be more frustrating than a Keebler Elf getting demoted to Fudge Packer. 59 laps in the books. We do apologize for the connection issues. Unfortunately, that's an iRacing server problem, not an us problem. No matter where it is and who it is, everybody has these issues when we do super speedways, especially with a full boat like we have tonight. Chris Custer getting sent down pit road. He's been down there for almost 4 minutes, so I'm guessing he must have had some kind of an issue earlier on, as Derek Heitman leads us out of turn 4 back onto the front stretch. And remember, folks, that start-finish line doesn't happen until after where we would usually see it in the apex of the tri-oval. Lap 60, here we come, as this is the final lap of stage number 1. 60 green flag laps tonight. That's a feat that, you know, if you guys were with us for the short tracks at Martinsville and Richmond, you were probably frustrated as well. But tonight and last week at Texas Motor Speedway, the SNN Cup Series finally got the light to shine back on them again, as Derek Heitman leads us down the back chute and into turns 3 and 4. All of a sudden, they're back to their old selves as they haul it out of turn 4, coming back to the front stretch. We're going to see Derek Heitman here leading us back down to the start-finish line. Don't blink now, quite literally, as Heitman gets pushed across the start-finish line by his teammate Patrick Gitter, and stage 1 comes to a calm and collected end. It's going to be Heitman, Gitter, RJ Root, Paul Hill, Matt DiCiani, your top 5. Matt Long, Kavaja Holt, Bobby Anderson, Anthony Savignano, and Nolan Hodgson going to be scored 10th. So those 10 drivers will be receiving their stage bonus points that are oh so important here in this league. And we're going to get a chance to talk to Derek Heitman in just a moment. Hey, Derek, it's Dave and Allen up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
Hold on, guys. Yeah, I hear you.
Hey, man, listen, great finish here to stage 1. I mean, you know, you've got teammate help with you all the way. How does that feel to be up there knowing that you've basically got an impenetrable wall behind you?
It feels pretty good. I wasn't too worried about anything, but, you know, they're going to make their moves and start racing. We're all going to start racing each other when we got to start racing each other. So until then, we're just riding around, and hopefully we all can help each other out and get a good finish.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you guys have basically dominated all of stage 1. I mean, you came in early on 25, which was the beginning of those green flag pit stops. Obviously, that paid off for you as you cycled back to the lead. What are you thinking about as you get ready here for stage 2? Adjustments or no adjustments?
I'm not touching a thing. I'm going to actually take tires this time and then take tires on the last stop. So take tires, fill it full, and try to do it again.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the stage 1 win. I'm sure that we will be chatting with you at some point for sometime in the rest of the evening.
Thanks, guys.
That, of course, the voice of Derek Heitman, driver the number 76. We want to try to get a hold of Mike McConville here. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me.
Hey, how we doing?
I'm doing good, but here you are getting ready to roll off a pit road. How does that number 1 feel tonight?
Feels pretty good. Probably not as much speed as the top few guys, but man, it's definitely going to keep us in it.
Well, listen, the Pennzoil number 1 paint scheme, that Steve Park look, that brings back a whole lot of feelings for the DEI days here at Talladega. I mean, how did you prepare to come in for this race this week?
There isn't much preparing you could do for this. You could do 1,000 laps here, and nothing you tested works out. You just got to come in here and kind of pray a little bit. Hope your car's got the speed.
Yeah, I've always managed to feel bad for the people that, you know, I call them the like the mad scientists of race prep, where they're sitting there and they're tweaking that setup week in and week out. Then they come to a place like this, bad things happen around them, and nothing worked out.
I'd say that's the big thing about plate racing is only about 5% of it's in your own control. 95% of it's what everyone else does.
Well, it's a very good point. And, you know, here we are coming into stage 2. You're going to be restarting in 11th. What's going to be the strategy here in 2?
Same as in stage 1. hang around, make it to the end. I'm not worried about any stage points or winning stages. All I'm worried about is lap 188.
That a boy, Luther. All right, brother, listen. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll get you back up there into the old race chat.
Appreciate you, boss man.
You're up in JAR TCR, correct?
Yes, sir.
Moving back on up. I never want to, even though he was sitting up there alone, I never want to move somebody where they didn't belong, as we're going to try to get a hold of one more driver, Matt Long. Hey, Matt, it's Dave and Allen up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
Hey, guys.
Listen, you were up there giving Paul Hill the business that entire stage. What's going to be the difference, and what's going to be the strategy change to try to push him, the rest of the way over that hump?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. The Conti guys are obviously fast and they're working together. I think trying to pit with them or pit around them is going to be important. We almost lost a draft from them this last stage, and then we were really close. I don't know. We just need maybe a little more help, and I think we're right there. So we'll see. We'll keep
I'll tell you what. From our perspective up here, your bumps were perfectly timed. Your handling was absolutely bar none amazing, and those Team Conti guys, they're rough. I would replace one letter in their name if I was you. Perhaps maybe a U mixed in there. Because that's got to be frustrating when you've got a car the way that yours is handling right now and you just can't get around them.
Yeah, props to them. They got 4 guys working together, and that's what it takes here. Me and Bobby, he was bumping the hell out of me behind me, and it's just us two. So it's glad to work with Paul there, and hopefully keep working with Paul and maybe grab a couple more. But yeah, it takes numbers here at Dega, so we'll see what we can do.
All right, brother, listen, good luck the rest of the way, and I'm sure we'll see you on the other side at some point tonight.
Long way to go. Thanks, boys.
We're going to move him back on up into the Dirty South Racing and Racing Stable. And, Alan, we are finally ready for Stage 2 to get underway.
I am ready for Stage 2, but there's only one thing we got to do. As we come down that short stretch in the iRacing.com pace car, makes its way out to the left, down, getting ready to go down pit road, and we get ready to go to the travel. And, I'm going to say this. Barney, give me that green flag, because we're going to go racing for Stage 2 at Talladega.
We enter the Geico restart zone. The green flag waves. Heitman drops the hammer, and we're back underway.
Now the Team Conti cars are kind of split up, but there they are, back in line. And Derek Heitman still out. It's still out front there.
You got to watch Kavaja Holt. He just dropped down here to the low side. He got behind Matt DiCiani in the 14. Drivers all over the racetrack right now trying to find the real estate because it's all about location, location, location as the 00 of Kavaja Holt now looks to nose in. He allows Nolan Hodgson to squeeze in there, and they're going to hang the 97 out to dry unless Matt Long can quick slide in. He doesn't, and that's going to leave the 97 and the 6 alone up here on the high side for the time being, and that's not very polite.
That is not very polite at all. Hey, look, usually I take them out to dinner before I leave them out high and dry.
Heitman leads this piece. It goes Heitman, Root, Gitter, and DiCiani. 1, 2, 3, 4, they go. RJ right in the middle of all of this. And I'll tell you what, if I'm Derek Heitman, the driver I most want to see over anybody in this league is RJ Root pushing me down the backstretch. As we look back here to RJ, he's holding steady. He's going to come in for another push here on the exit of turn 4. Bump. There he goes. We're going to get it again. Bump. Yes! More bump drafting! More bump drafting! Oh, I love it! Oh, I love it! He's hitting it perfect every time coming down the front stretch here on lap number 66. He goes ahead and gets the lead pack away from those drivers that are just behind them in 5th down through 10th. And here comes RJ again for another hit at the rear bumper of the 76. Boom. There it is. They are connected. It's almost like there's glue between the 76 and the 7.
And you can hear those RPMs getting higher and higher. But you don't want to be up there glued to the back bumper too long, because your temp gauges will start climbing.
Yeah, and there's no tape that you can take off of these next-gen cars, so you've got to be conscious of that, because the only way that you're going to cool that car back down is to peak out and let the car breathe in some cool air. And right now, these cars are all cranked up here. Let's take a look and see if we can find the cockpit cam. Let's see if I can find. There it is. Hello. I'm watching that. We're pegged at about 8,600 RPMs here along for the ride with Derek Heitman. 8,600, and he's not letting go at all.
Now let's go back and see what RJ Root dashboard says, because I tell you what, it's a tale of a different story.
Well, RJ Root's going to be slightly lower. He doesn't even need to use all of that throttle as we ride along with him on the helmet cam. And we can see RJ at this stage in the race. He's nice and comfy here. He looks here to the inside. He checks the mirror. He comes back. Not a big deal for RJ right now, as he is nice and comfy, giving yet another push here to Derek Heitman as they get themselves squared up. Boom. A good hit that time.
And if you're Derek Heitman, you're screaming over race radio to RJ Root saying, "Bump me, please.
Do it again, do it again."
Right. And these guys are going to back off each other and let the cars cool off just a little bit before they get back at it. That's the trick about plate racing, as we still know it as today, even though they don't use restrictor plates.
No restrictor plates, but plenty of speed here nonetheless as we take a look here at the dashboard of RJ Root. 185. Let's go down here to the 00. We're going to watch the speedometer of Kavaja Holt. Kavaja Holt, wow, 194 going into the rear end of Nolan Hodgson, as he's going to push Hodgson just past Matt DiCiani, as they are just hooked up to one another. 206 miles per hour going into turn 3 and 4.
Don't want to catch a bad bump coming out of the corner either.
69 laps in the books, about 50 to go here this time, or no, 50 to go next time by at Talladega Superspeedway. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones. As looks like Chewy 180 says, "What is this off-brand NASCAR? Anyone? Hello, what is this?" Want to welcome you in, Chewy 180.
I can't make the chewy noise, but I get the Star Wars reference.
It is not off-brand NASCAR. It is exciting iRacing. Looks like we have another person who accidentally stumbled into us here on the YouTube.com live chat. Welcoming him in. We've got 6 nights of racing here on SRM, and you know what? We've got a couple of featured races coming up this week. Of course, tomorrow night I'll be right here at Talladega with the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. I've changed that back to a lot cleaner property management and maintenance as a tip of the cap to Tony Burt, who's the owner of a lot cleaner property management and maintenance down there in West Virginia. Western States Racing League going to be live at 10:20 p.m. on Tuesday night, as we'll be off from the Truck Series. The Rick Botech Cup Series is going to Circuit of the Americas on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Racers Elite Cup Series action at Dover with myself and Daniel Paulus at Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And ISNF goes to Dover Saturday night at 5:30 p.m. And then, of course, we'll be right back here in prime time next Sunday at Dover. So all of a sudden, we're going to be spending, at least for me, I'm going to be spending, let's see if I can count this off just right, 1, 2, 3, about 4 nights in a row at Dover Motor Speedway at the Monster Mile, and I'm sure Miles is happy to see me.
Oh, man.
They just got done mounting the car into Miles' hand for this year.
And you mentioned the Monster Mile tomorrow night on Sunday night, or Sunday Cup League. You'll have myself and Daniel Paulus. That series goes to the Lake or the Great Coliseum, the concrete version. I love dirt, but dirt on Bristol, not my style. Because look, I don't like the whole driving a dirt car 150 miles an hour and not lifting.
Sounds like fun to me. Keep that throttle wide. Burper if she gets too full.
Well, right now, Derek Heitman's sitting high, wide, and handsome here on the high side.
Nolan Hodgson here on the low side. He leads that low line. He's got help from Kavaja Holt, but right now Kavaja just not able to. Whoa, boy!
Oh!
Near disaster with Seba Cornez. Seba down several laps, just collected that low line, and the entire low line needs to check the fire suits for brown stains.
That was an eye-opening moment there.
Eye-opening and butt-puckering.
We're working lap 74. We almost had a caution there, but we stay green.
We stay green.
We stay green.
Consuela from Family Guy? No. He'd take a bad hit.
I love that show.
Mr. Superman no here. Derek Heitman leads the way with RJ Root in tow. This lead pack has it going on. Let's take a look slightly further back here. We can see the 89 now of Steve Herring leading another small pack. That's Chris Claude just behind him. As they are single file now, Chris Claude behind the 80 of Mark Johnston. As they run, Chris Claude back in 24th position. Now, you may say 24th, you don't have a shot, but dumb things can happen, crazy stuff can happen here. As everybody last came down to pit on lap 61, let's take a look here at the pit strategy. They've all been out now for 13 laps on these tires, at least in the top 10. So you're going to figure here as we look a little bit deeper at the numbers. Those first drivers came down on 25, and then everybody reloaded on 61. Hill, Long, McConville, Witt, and Hodgson were able to stretch it that much further, and Pruitt as well in the top 10. So we're going to start to see some of those pit strategies pan out maybe a little bit better as, now they know what they can work with. Stage one a lot of times is kind of like being blind and the first time that you're trying to feel your way around in the dark. You're not sure what you got going on. But by stage two, at least you can, work your way through the room without knocking into the coffee table 6 times.
I like walking into the coffee table. It shouldn't have been there, though.
Ain't that the truth? It's always where you don't expect it.
In the middle of the room?
Yeah, it shouldn't be there. It should be off to the side slightly. Or at least near a couch that you're not going to trip over.
Oh, we're seeing the step on.
Look, I'd like to go Dean Martin style and get some curb feelers for my cufflinks, like if I fall down in a room. In fact, if I get like a hotel room in Atlantic City, what I really need, it's not like furnished or anything like that. No bed, no couch, no nothing in that room in Atlantic City. Just, nothing but a gutter to gutter from the wall. And then some curb feelers so that I know if I'm close to something as I crawl back in at the end of the night.
How many times did you walk down the hall or into the living room, stepping on miniature Hot Wheel cars?
No,
with some
it's
4-letter
Legos
adjectives.
and action figures.
Oh, and then you throw in some 4-letter adjectives.
No, we call that vocabulary studies. Because I'll tell you what, I'll bet you dollars to donuts. If you step on a Lego in the middle of the night when you're trying to get up out of bed and go to pee, if you step on a Lego, you're going to invent words.
Well, I tell you right now, Derek Heitman is inventing this race lead, and got RJ Root right behind him, and that was so lame.
Heitman is our Pied Piper for the time being. We take a peek back here. It looks like, as I'm just taking a gander down the line, there is only about a 2.9 from 24th to the lead. No, a 2.7 from 23rd to the lead. Less than 2 seconds for 23 cars.
That's not bad. I like that math.
Not bad, that's psychotic. You should be medicated.
No, I should be medicated because in February I had no life. That was psychotic.
Looks like Chewy 180 has gone quiet here in our YouTube.com live chat, so hopefully they come on back.
That's a lot of fun.
More fun than a human being ought to have, as the great late El Rushbo would have said from Southern Command behind the golden microphone of the EIB network.
Hey, look, Dave, we are here to entertain and inform.
But mostly entertain.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't be getting I guess if they have Emmys for TV and Oscars and so... If they have Emmys for TV, would it be like a Yui for YouTube?
I mean, I'm still waiting on that.
Or we can't use Tubi anymore. You can't say that I earned a Tubi because now that's a streaming platform.
I'm still waiting on the plaque. I think Johnny gets those though. As the heat on this, right now the heat is getting turned up higher than the amount of subscribers I have on my personal YouTube channel.
37?
10?
Let's hope that that's in Celsius. We're 10 degrees in Kelvin. That's enough to boil your face off.
Look, I don't spend that much time making YouTube videos.
$82 laps in the books here at Talladega Superspeedway. The SNN Stacy Strong Cup Series turns laps like nobody we've ever seen here. Derek Heitman, your race leader. He's trailed by RJ Root, Patrick Gitter, Matt DiCiani, and Paul Hill in your top 5. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here on YouTube.com tonight. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on lap number 82.
So, hi, my name's Christy. I am a wife, a mother of 3 children. I am a sister and an aunt of lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm also a substitute teacher. So, my everyday life changed by going to appointments, a lot of appointments, a lot of scans. As like during the treatment, my body just got weaker, so I wasn't as active with my children and with my husband. So I was laying on the couch a lot more. I'm an active person, and so that just didn't sit well with me, but that's how it changed. My body was just weaker, and I couldn't do the things that I used to do. So there was a lady in where I live from a local church who had heard that I had breast cancer, and she sent me a letter just reaching out for support, and she actually said that she's the one that told me about Trisha's Hope and that I should contact them, so I did. So specifically, I wasn't able to really work during my treatment or anything like that, so the grant that I was able to get helped me pay my bills, provide gas money. I was driving to and from treatments, and so it helped a lot with bills and everything. I would just say I am so grateful for Trisha's Hope and for all the people that have donated, because I don't know what I would have done without them.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it. They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging. Oh and to the line. He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway as Nolan Hodgson is our race leader. Of course, unfortunately, due to connection issues, iRacing trying to get us all caught up. There he is, here in the number 12 Brandt Ford Mustang. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Alan, we've had 93 green flag laps. Green flag pit stops just got started back on lap number 85. And we're still marching to the end here. We're just over 20 to go here in stage 2.
This has been a fun race to watch, Dave. And I'm not surprised that this has gone green for as long as it has. But don't jinx us now, because once we get to stage 2, we got a short stage 3. And like I said, you wouldn't think 188 laps would be a long time, but on a 2.5 mile super speedway, you can equate that to about 200 laps.
With some connection issues, as what seems always to be going on at these super speedways. Folks, I want to be able to explain these connection issues. When the signal is coming into our computers at the speeds that it has to for a place like this, the racetrack is all kinds of spread out. And basically, iRacing is trying to, quote-unquote, draw cars around a 2.66 mile oval. While it's trying to do that for all 40 drivers tonight, it's a lot of work for any computer. Right now, this thing's putting out all kinds of heat next to me, and, you know, it's doing the very best that it can, but unfortunately, it's just not good enough right now, no matter what kind of computer that you have, to draw at either end of the racetrack. It's just a lot for any computer to handle. So I do apologize for the blinking and the flashing cars, but unfortunately, it's just something that we have to deal with here on Sim Racing Media and really across all of our platforms on YouTube.com that broadcast iRacing events.
I mean, unless you're iRacing themselves that have supercomputers, which is out of my budget for sure.
Yeah, they can launch a rocket.
Well, I tell you what, speaking of rockets and launching, I'm impressed with the drive of Noah Hodgson there in a 12 car, as he has put on an absolute show right now in a masterclass on drafting and staying out front, as we are still cycling through green flag pit stops.
Yeah, right now it's basically your top 5 have yet to come on to pit road, and then you go back to 10th and 11th, Randall Watkins and Timothy Cook. They haven't come down pit road either. So best believe that Watkins and Cook are listening for when Hodgson, Sanner, Witt, Gaskins, and Pruitt all come down, and they should be momentarily. And there they go. So that's going to end our green flag pit cycle. All right, Fadam Sai. As that's going to cycle Derek Heitman back up to the race lead once they get around those drivers that came down pit road. Richard Pruitt alone out here, like a sitting duck. He's going to quickly have to decide to go on down pit road because he's about to see Derek Heitman lead this freight train back onto the front stretch, and we can see Heitman casually driving as if this is just another Sunday afternoon in Lincoln, Alabama. And now all of a sudden it has to draw more cars. Here we go. Heitman, Root, Gitter, DeCiani. We're going to have to go a little radio style and just kind of watch timing and scoring for the time being. Richard Pruitt comes down pit road. That will cycle Heitman back to the race lead momentarily here as Pruitt comes in for pit service. He's not going to be able to beat Heitman and Root off of pit road, so he will stay on the lead lap, but it's going to be quite a battle as Pruitt sits on pit road. He's coming out now, and he's trying to get up to speed as he comes off, and now here they come to clean up the mess.
So, Dave, I posted this question in the YouTube.com chat. If you were in this field, who would you want on your back bumper right now? Or who would you want as a drafting partner?
RJ Root, hands down.
I could get behind that.
I don't even have to think about it. Let's watch RJ go ahead and bump draft off the 76. Now, he's going to shove the 76 of Derek Heitman here into 3. He backs off coming into 4. He's got the 27 of Randall Watkins. Randall last came in on 61, and he's going to stay out some more as Randall seems to think that he knows something that we all don't. And now Randall's going to need somebody to come in with him. Timothy Cook doing the same thing. But yeah, RJ Root is who I want drafting me. That's for sure.
I'm going to go Derek Heitman. I feel like he would be a great pusher. And YouTube says Chad Sander or Nolan Hodgson easily.
Let's take a look and see what Sanders doing back here in the 94. Now, he's got the 24 of Richard Pruitt behind him. And Pruitt's hitting him just square right on that rear bumper, so he's doing all right. And he's got the 88 behind him. Now the 88 steps a little out of line. They've got the 3 of Ron Fitting desperately trying to hold on. I'm not sure what's going on with Ron tonight as he is way far back, 4 laps down tonight. And, of course, not enough cautions to, whoa, easy there, big fella, as the 88 gets out of line once again. But, Fitting 4 laps down, he must have had some kind of a mechanical issue earlier on in the race, and not enough cautions to try to bunch things back up and get that free pass eventually to get back onto the lead lap for Ron Fitting.
I mean, I can get behind Chad Sander, but, as you mentioned, the issues there.
FGD 5604 says would maybe drawing less cars than the options help the lag. So what we've discovered is, yes, that can help, but what happens is if there's a wreck, and how do I explain it? If there's a wreck and it's not one of the cars that's being drawn, then you lose that wreck, and then it goes to nothing.
Goes to deep Dairy Queen land.
It looks terrible when it says, oh, the 66 is wrecking, and you go to look at it and it's nothing there because the computer wasn't drawing that car.
Correct. So I mean, it's really nothing we can do on our end. It's an iRacing issue.
Believe me, I have sat in the forums on iRacing and, looked through all kinds of different people who have had these same issues, and basically there's no real answer.
I mean, we're not the only team in town that has this issue.
Randall Watkins in the 27 hanging on to P5 right now with 18 to go this time by at the line. I'm curious to whether or not Randall thinks that he can make the next 18 laps. He can't. Oh, nope, there he is. Here he comes. Come on down here, Mr. 305. Get that pit service. As that's going to cycle Derek Heitman into a stronger lead, and all of a sudden, back here through the one of Mike McConville. McConville now down a lap. He's the lucky dog, holding on desperately to the rear bumper of Matt DiCianni. But these Team Conti drivers controlling the field right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 they go on lap 103.
These guys have been controlling the field since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, all they're really doing right now is just exchanging who decides that they're going to lead for the time being. Kavaja Holt back here leading the next pack as they're 7 seconds behind DiCianni and the one of Mike McConville. So Kavaja has about 7 or 8 cars here in this little line from 5th back here to Tanner Marty in the 29. And it looks like they're just going to be holding steady, and in that mix is the lap car of the 59 driven by Seba Cornez. And of course, Seba Cornez out of Uruguay, one of our international drivers. Sean Rogers here in the 44, always cheered on by Amanda Price. He's kind of hanging back here in 8th position. He's up 20. In fact, our biggest mover of the race is Sean Rogers here in the 44. And I'll tell you what, this driver out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, he can put on quite a show in that beast mode Chevrolet Camaro.
That beast mode Chevy Camaro is going beast mode right now on this field. Sean Rogers. And I haven't been in the booth, but I do catch these races because I do love watching the series. And
we're going to wind up having a wreck if Savignano doesn't hit the 00 just right, and Savignano gets out of line. We're going to run this back and just watch Savignano here on the nose as he was coming down the backstretch. Let's see if I can get this rewound just a little bit here. As we come back to the replay feed, Kavaja Holt getting loose coming out of 2. Savignano hits him, loosens the bejesus out of him, and then Savignano gets out of line to avoid any kind of catastrophe here on what is now lap 106. So Savignano avoids near disaster behind Kavaja Holt. And Kavaja here in the 00. Looking back now to Sean Rogers, who's giving him the push here in that Chevrolet Camaro, working lap 106, coming out of 4. Here comes Rogers. Boop!
Oh, there
Once
it is.
again, boom! There it is. Rogers just linked himself right on there. What is that on Sean Rogers' helmet? Is that what I think it is?
What do you think it is?
I think it's a Buffalo Bill.
It might be.
We'll
get a good look. We'll get a good look if he gets another bump here.
No, screw that. We're getting a good look now.
That is a Buffalo Bill.
And of course we can't. Wait. Let's see this from here. Now we'll look at Sean Rogers' helmet. Yeah, he's a member of the Bills Mafia from Kalamazoo. I guess the Lions aren't a factor for him?
Hey, look, I'm in St. Louis, and I like the Lions. And they had a great season this year, almost making the playoffs, or almost making.
Yeah, but see, in St. Louis, it's okay to like somebody else because you lost your football team. All they would have had to do was sell it to the right owner, and I know who I would have sold it to, and they didn't want him as an owner in the league.
Well, I tell you what, Stan Kroenke did give us the Gateway Dirt Nationals here in St. Louis when he moved the Rams out.
I don't know who I would be more upset if I was a football fan of. If I would be more upset with Kroenke, or if I'd be upset with the Ursays if I lived in Baltimore.
Kroenke.
You think? Because the Ursays swore to God that they weren't going to move the Colts out of Baltimore. Next thing you know, on their way to Indianapolis, they galloped.
Well,
nothing to see here, folks.
Here's why I say Kroenke, because one, he led the coalition on. It's like he strung the city of St. Louis along. Oh, we'll spend all this money, and then we'll build a new stadium. We'll keep the town. We'll keep the team in town. But if he was really out in California, breaking ground on the new stadium.
I mean, it's either that or to be upset with the Oakland Athletics. Did you see their upcoming 2025 and 26 season home?
Yes.
They're playing in a
Sacramento.
10,000-seat minor league ballpark.
At least it'll sell out.
I'll bet you it doesn't. I would bet dollars to donuts that they still can't sell that thing out. And I mean, look, they've shared the Bay Area now for, 70 years with the Giants. Unfortunately, the Oakland A's have a team history of moving. Of course, the Oakland Athletics originally were the Philadelphia Athletics. Of course, home to Connie Mack and some of the greatest baseball players to ever grace the grass. And then, of course, they wind up moving to Kansas City. They were the Kansas City A's for a little while. And then out to Oakland they went. And they've stayed in Oakland ever since, and played in that dump of a building that they tried to pass off as a ballpark. I mean, by the time they left Philadelphia, they had left Connie Mack Stadium a shell of itself when they moved to Kansas City.
But you got the Phillies out of it.
Thanks. The Phillies, a team that makes me decide whether or not I'm going to have to go to therapy for another year.
I mean, look, if you're Matt DiCianni, you got the Cubs, and, well, better luck next year.
Speaking of Matt DiCianni, he's running right now in fourth position. He's got the one car of Mike McConville kind of anchoring that rear bumper for him as we take a peek here at McConville riding behind DiCianni. He's keeping himself a safe distance back here. He knows that he can come up here and give DiCianni a good bump. DiCianni can take that right there in the rear bumper. But McConville kind of playing this conservative right now as he would be considered as the lucky dog at this stage in the race. And I mean, quite frankly, McConville doesn't want this lead pack to get itself any closer to another lap car right now as we work our way toward lap 120. 8 laps to go at the line in stage number 2. So if McConville can hold on here for the next 8 laps and they don't pass anybody else, he's got a reasonable a reasonable argument to stay the lucky dog, get the free pass, and get back on the lead lap after our stage caution.
I mean, I like the fact that we've only had one caution through 112 laps, and that is because of the stage break. So we're guaranteed at least 2 cautions today.
Well, and that's something that no matter what league you're in, that you almost never see. But the SNN Cup Series prides itself on being one of the safest on the iRacing.com servers. These drivers are out here trying to make good decisions, trying to make competitive decisions. Look, your top 5 is 9 seconds ahead. Or I'm sorry, your top 4 is 9 seconds ahead of 5th position. This is all of a sudden where I'm afraid we're going to see some type of mayhem as they try to work their way around. Wow, what is that? The 8 car? That's Gangler down there on the low side trying to stay out of everybody's way. Seba Cornez now forcing the 12 to check up. That's Nolan Hodgson just behind Seba. As we ride along with Nolan, we're going to see him try to link up with Seba Cornez. Oh, for crying out loud. But these drivers right now, as it stands, I mean, wow, they've got to get around Chris Claude. It's just getting more and more choppy out here in these waters that these drivers are, having to navigate through as Tanner Marty works just underneath of Randall Watkins, who wound up, I don't think, he stayed. Nope, he's not on the lead lap anymore. That's a shame. But then all of a sudden we go back just a little bit further, and this third group led by Matt Gaskins is led by Chad Sanner, is absolutely picking him up and laying him down as Sanner looks back to Gaskins. It seems like these two drivers are almost always near one another on the racetrack. And Chad Sanner taking a bump now from Matt Gaskins. Boom. What a good push from Gaskins into the rear of Sanner. They are just shoving one another down the backstretch, and they're doing it artfully.
And that's the key to getting around this place. And to your point, Dave, I almost want to go back and see whenever they used to trade off the lead, when they were drafting, they used to swap positions all the time.
Yeah, taking a look right here at Anthony Savignano in the 90. He's just behind Dalton Mobley once again. They've got the 97 of Matt Long ahead of them. Sean Rogers following Kavaja Holt here in 5th position. This group is probably the strongest that it's been all night long. And Kavaja trying to lead them up here to the rear bumper of Matt DeCiani. They're separated by 11 seconds at this point. It's going to have to take, this stage break to bring everybody back together. But, 5 laps to go here. 4 at the line. There it is, 1:17 in the books. As Derek Heitman, your race leader, plays Pied Piper here in Lincoln, Alabama at Talladega Superspeedway.
Oh, boy, Derek Heitman. It looks like Patrick Gitter was going to lead the thing for a little while, but once that first stage ended, it's been all Derek Heitman all race long.
RJ Root, this is just about the furthest I've seen him poke his nose out there.
Maybe that car's getting a little hot.
The 76 of Heitman now shoving the 50. Trying to look to see who that is. My God. Randy Belk. Randy Belk now kind of holding up this lead pack. Derek Heitman almost having to check up behind Belk.
That's a sinking feeling.
At this point, really, Randy Belk being here in this position is allowing Derek Heitman to save fuel.
I mean, you're not wrong. We're coming down to get 3 to go here, or 2 to go here in the stage. Derek Heitman is definitely your leader. It's funny because this is almost taking me back when my dad used to watch these NASCAR races, and he'd fall asleep. We'd turn the channel, and he'd say, "Turn that back," and we're like, "You're not even watching, you're sleeping." He goes, "Oh, I'm watching." And he goes, "Well, who's winning?" He goes, "The guy in front."
It's an accurate. It's an accurate analysis.
Well, the guy in front could be a lap down.
Derek Heitman leading us here on lap number 119. We'll come back to the line for the white flag of stage number 2 here at Talladega Superspeedway. You're watching the Stacy Strong Cup Series live tonight on Sim Racing Media. As we are every week with you, they come out of the tri-oval down toward the dogleg, and as they cross the start-finish line, Randy Belk going to dump down on his own and get out of the way of the leaders. He's going to collect Mike McConville on the low side. The leaders go high, and Derek Heitman leading us in front of RJ Root, Patrick Gitter, and Matt DeCiani. These 4 drivers have been stuck together like glue all night long here on the final lap of stage 2. They've been making crazy good time as here comes another big run from RJ Root as he just sucked up right to the rear tailpipe of the 76. Derek Heitman leads us now here on the final lap of stage number 2. We come out of turn 4. This is Talladega. As Heitman comes. Whoa! What is going on here? Heitman suddenly having to hold off. Uh-oh. That opens the door for Patrick Gitter, and Patrick Gitter is going to win the stage.
Wow.
In a surprise move here.
I did not.
We're going to run this one
that.
back. Wow.
I did not expect that one to happen.
No, in fact, I'm going to go back here right to the photo finish because this is incredible. Watch them cross. Of course, now we're going to sit here and stare.
Kid.
There it is. There it is. Patrick Gitter wins stage number 2 here at Talladega Superspeedway. Let's get a hold of Pat. Hey, Patrick, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
10-4.
Hey, man, listen, what a move at the end of stage 2 to steal away those 10 bonus points. I mean, how do you find yourself in that position? And you quietly made the move. It wasn't even that drastic.
Yeah, we talked about what we were going to do with these lap cars, and we all just decided, all right, it's game on this last half lap or so. So, I don't know, it just kind of worked out, had a gap, made the most of it.
How's the 21 feeling as, you come down here from Charlotte, North Carolina, from what's essentially the world center of racing to the biggest oval on the service? I mean, what's going to be the strategy here in stage 3 is we're going to have just about 60 to go when the green flag drops again?
Yeah, I don't think a lot changes. I still think it's kind of a game of awareness, figuring out who you're around and trying to make sure you pull the right pit strategy.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the stage 2 win. You guys are gonna have to keep it together for just about another 60 laps. Good luck as you come down pit road, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
That, of course, the voice of Patrick Gitter, driver the number 21. Everybody going to come down pit road this time as we're going to move Pat back on up into his live chat. That's going to send iRacing into having fits again, as we'll just go up here into the blimp stat. Come on, give me this one. There we go. We'll just wait for everything to calm down.
Sometimes you have to.
Well, at this stage, I mean, quite literally this stage, everybody's going to come down for pit service. We're going to watch the field reshuffle. Derek Heitman going to come off of pit road first. He's followed by Patrick Gitter, RJ Root, and Matt DiCiani. Matt Long in the 97. As everybody's going to get themselves lined back up. I want to see if I can get a hold of RJ. Where might I find RJ? There he is. Hey, RJ, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man, listen, great run so far. I mean, listen, I know I've seen you do the super speedway dance enough times over the last couple of years. You are somehow like the best driver out here bump drafting. What kind of practice time does it take to get as good as you are?
Every week I spend about 3 hours in practice sessions just working with different people and shoving people to their personal best lap times. So about 3 hours each week.
Good Lord. I mean, that's a lot of time in the sim without even, in competition. And I mean, not only does that make you better for bump drafting, but it makes those people around you more comfortable with the bump drafting, which in turn makes them better at super speedways. What's going to be the strategy here in stage 3? Because I'm expecting to see you on, around, or near the podium.
I mean, really, our main goal is to just stick with the other Team Conti cars and try to just make sure that we get as good of a finish as we can. We gapped the field by 12 seconds there, so I mean, I'm gonna pretty much just fall in line wherever I do, whether it's second, third, or fourth, and kind of just ride. We're gonna probably try to split the field up again and settle it between us.
Yeah, I mean, that's half the battle. I mean, just trying to get yourself separated. Of course, the problem that we've discovered here on Sim Racing Media is that the more gap the field gets apart from one another in a place as big as Talladega, is that's when it gives our computers fits trying to download all of the information, draw the cars, and get everything onto the track. I mean, what do you think as far as gapping is concerned that you can do here in Stage 3? Was anybody making changes to the cars or just leaving them as is?
We've all just left it as it is. This car is an absolute rocket ship, especially if we can break away from the field. But really, it all comes down to our pit stop. We got to execute perfectly. That's what we did the last time, and everybody was trying to short fuel to keep up with us, and we were still able to break away. And it's just all about executing as perfect as possible.
Well, and you're just about as good as it gets when it comes to perfect execution. So good luck the rest of the way, buddy. And I'm sure that we're going to see you on, around, or near the podium.
I appreciate it.
That, of course, the voice of the great R.J. Root, driver the number 7 tonight for Team Conti. So we're going to move him back on up here into the Team Conti E10 Esports race chat. And right now, we're finally ready to start Stage 3. These drivers have really been waiting for this stage to break itself loose, as we've only had 2 cautions, both of them tonight, just for the stages, Alan. So, as we get underway here in Stage 3, I want to tell everybody that this is where we're going to be excited to be tonight, because we've gotten through these first stages so clean and so good. As the field comes out of turn 4, the iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. Derek Heitman with control of the field. They're waiting. They're coming. They hit the Geico restart zone. Derek Heitman drops the hammer, and we are off on stage number 3.
There goes Derek Heitman, same song, same verse. And will Patrick Gitter drop down? Yes, he will. No, he won't. Well, there he goes. Come on, buddies. Let's figure this thing out.
Synchronized swimming at its best. All of a sudden, Tanner Marty is just left out here like a pair of underwear on the wash line. He's out to dry. That puts Matt Long just behind Heitman, Gitter, DeCiani, and Root. And he's going to be the last car in this lead pack, as it looks like Bobby Anderson's got some work ahead of him here to try to get this second group tied up here with those lead cars. Now, Tanner Marty, we can see on the high side, starting to try to organize something. But if these drivers are smart, they're going to hook their wagons up to the horses of Heitman, Gitter, DeCiani, and Root, and they're going to go for a ride. Trying to get aggressive at this stage in the race is going to do nothing but cause mayhem and problems on the racetrack, as now Kavaja Holt gets in on that one. Sean Rogers now leads the second pack just ahead of Chad Senna.
Well, almost like your 10G internet from Xfinity. These guys are like a freight train coming down the track. Right now,
riding along here with Chad Sander out of Smithfield, Pennsylvania. We're going to see just what that car can do here. 189 miles per hour coming into the tri-oval. We tap 190, and now we head down toward turn 1 and 2. This is where you lay into the throttle. Oh, Kavaja stepping out of line. That's going to cause a checkup from the 44. That's the kind of mistake that you don't want, and we can see Chad Sander holding his own line. Even as he's drifted off that rear bumper of the 44, he still has just enough draft to try to pull himself back up in there and do battle with the 44. Right now, from first to 10th, only 0.8 of a second, and Sander just outside of that, as all of a sudden the 17 of Eric Papineau slides into view as we work lap 127 here in stage 3.
Yeah, don't want to step out of line too quickly. I don't even want to be leading this race right now. If you're Derek Heitman, the lead is the last place you're going to want to be. As the inside line has become the outside line, and the outside line is one big long train with the caboose at the very end of the line. Derek Heitman getting that push from Patrick Kidder. 17 car, that's the Meineke car.
Watching the 17 of Eric Papineau get pushed along by Mike McConville, who took the free pass and now runs back up here on the lead lap. All of a sudden, Mike McConville going to be involved in the conversation here as the laps start to melt off. 60 laps to go here at Talladega Superspeedway. We want to welcome you in to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I'm Dave Regal and he's Alan Bergen. As we work lap 129. And I'll tell you what, Alan, we've seen a lot of good racing tonight. We've seen a lot of organized racing as these cars, now have put 25 on the lead lap. Nobody damaged yet, per se, with the exception of some bumps and bruises, and no cautions to speak of here in the SNN Cup Series.
Don't jinx us now, we're halfway home. It's funny, earlier before the Racers Elite race got underway, you got to do your pre-race bathroom break. I told the team, I said, look, once we get this thing going, I'm not stopping the car for the bathroom. So use it before you got to go.
Well, because every time that you turn your face away, something else crazy happens here on the racetrack. Derek Heitman, though, this is probably the least crazy that it's been all night, as Derek Heitman leads us down the back chute. We're going to ride along here with the 29 of Tanner Marty. Tanner Marty kind of in a comfortable spot right now. As we rotate that camera around, we can see everybody pretty much holding their line. Nobody making any crazy moves. Just stay here, keep it steady, keep it steady. No reason to get yourself all out of shape over being a little impatient.
Patience is the key. So right now, even RJ Root is still in a pretty good spot, but there's still, 30-something, I want to say even 28, 29 drivers that still believe they have a shot at winning this thing.
Heck, at this point, you and I might have a chance to win this thing because Talladega kind of acts like a little bit of a wild card, just like we see in the road courses. Talladega is a special place because all bets are literally off. When you go to a road course, you might have that one outlier that's a road course whisperer. But Talladega is a special animal unto itself when you consider the fact that there are some people who understand restrictor plate racing, there are some people who understand drafting, and then there are others who are just along for the ride. And speaking of along for the ride, we ride here with Eric Papineau as he leads this front group here down the backstretch. And he's chasing down leaders like Derek Heitman, Patrick Kidder, Matt DiCiani, and RJ Root. And there's no way for him to get up here onto that high line. When they were all kind of bunched together, it wasn't that bad. But, unfortunately, now Papineau has his work cut out for him as he works lap 133 of 188. So we're just about 55 to go this time by. And, I realize that I've said it, and I know one of these times I'm going to jinx it, but running this many green flag laps at a place like Talladega, at any level of iRacing, at any level of racing overall, whether in real life or here in the sim, is incredible to do.
Oh, you're absolutely correct, 100%. And, going back to the road courses, look, I'm decent at best on road courses. As you might have saw Thursday night, I watched a lot of videos of Michael Connie getting around Watkins Glen. So sometimes you really got to do your homework, and practice does make perfect.
They're 3 wide here. We're going to take a look here where Tane Hodgson is, right in the eye of this storm, as he's got Nolan Hodgson on the high side, All this could take is one bad move, and it's all over. As we're going to see how close we can get in here. Here it is. Tane Hodgson now at the 6 over top of him. That's Paul Hill and Tanner Marty on the low side. And unfortunately, iRacing doesn't want to cooperate with us. Sorry, I didn't think that me giving a suggestion like that was going to cause you to blink out. Goodness gracious. God forbid I should want to show the folks at home what's going on here in Alabama.
Maybe iRacing doesn't like races south of the Mason-Dixon line. Ooh, what a bump. Once again.
Here they go again. Patrick Gitter just getting her done. As we're going to zoom in right here. Watch Patrick Gitter give the shove to the 76. This is just simply a thing of beauty as we work around here on lap 135. We watch these drivers come out of 4 once again, all but 3 wide. There's Nolan Hodgson, the meat in that sandwich, and he's holding his own. Hodgson doing a heck of a job just kind of riding the middle lane here. He's not getting frustrated. He's not getting scared. He's just keeping it between the navigational beacons as they are 3 wide in the middle of this field.
I don't like being 3 wide. I either like the outside or the inside. I'm not a 3 wide kind of guy.
Well, I mean, you're just not a.
I did it. It only took me 136 laps, but I did it.
You've just never found the right sandwich to be the meat inside of. And you thought you could back me into a corner. Paul Hill takes the lead. Derek Heitman side by side. They come through the tri-oval. This time by on 138. Paul Hill not able to get it done just now, but he's trying things out. He's trying to sniff his way around here and see if maybe he can make this happen. As we ride along with Hill, we can see Derek Heitman on the high side. Now Hill knows the secret. He knows that as long as he's got a good pusher in the shape of Matt Long behind him, that he can try to get up here and, give Heitman, Gitter, and DeCiani fits, as the Team Conti drivers are just absolutely running a clinic tonight.
And right now it's been a Derek Heitman show all night, and if you're DeCiani or Patrick Gitter, when it comes down to it, look, I would wreck my grandmother to win one of these races.
I don't want to know what your thoughts on your grandmother are.
I'm just saying.
I've never heard anybody say in public that they would wreck their grandmother. Unless you meant in a car. Did you mean in a car?
Yeah, in a car.
Oh, in a car. Got it.
Yeah. Look.
Gotta blow the dust off of it first.
Sorry. I told Matt Metler, or Mike Simone rather, I told Mike, I said, if Metler's here at the end and it comes down to it, guess he's going for a spin cycle.
We're going to start to see some pit cycling, it appears. I just heard somebody call out that they're going into the pits this time by. Not sure if they were serious or not, but I heard it on race radio. I'm waiting to see somebody peel down there. It doesn't look like they will. As finally this group has decided to just start trying to keep themselves together. First through 24th is separated by a second and a half, and then John Wilco and Chris Claude just running around back here, logging laps. I hope they're having a nice conversation, perhaps about the weather. John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania, a little town just south of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, home of Joe Madden, former World Series coach of a pretty specific team there from the Midwest, maybe in a big city, maybe with the big shoulders.
Maybe with the Bears?
The Cubs. Not the Cubs. Joe Madden leading the Chicago Cubs back to greatness as they won their first World Series in 108 years. Not like some greedy bastards from down just below them.
We weren't good with one. We got to get 11 up.
Just saying. Maybe that's what. Maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe it is the Anheuser-Busch that keeps the Cardinals winning world championships. Maybe it's me.
Well, here's funny you bring that up because here's an interesting stat, right? I just found this. So last year in 2023, the Cardinals at this time were 9-13. Okay. This year they're still 9-13, but their run average was a lot better than it was this year.
Look, I subscribe to sabermetrics and I love it, but sometimes I think we just need to look at it this way: they're either good or they're not. And you know what? The Cardinals are going to be going into a rebuild here in the very near future. I can't wait, and neither can the rest of the National League. The Braves are at this point almost back to the mid-'90s form that they were. So every time they come to town here in Philadelphia, I'm basically liable to have to, pop a pill and get myself calmed down. And I told the story. I mean, the Atlanta Braves, a good organization down there in the Peach State. And during spring training, when my dad and I were down in Florida, my first spring training game that I got a chance to go to this season was the Braves Pirates, because the Phillies were on the other side of the state. And as I'm walking up the steps, there's Chipper, there's Greg Maddux. I'm like, oh my God, my entire childhood was ruined by these 5 players that they had going up the steps at the entryway to the ballpark. I immediately took pictures of all of it, sent it to Chris Claude, who is a diehard Braves fan, and basically hated my life for the next 2.5 years.
It's deeply
I'm not even a
religious
Pirates
for
fan,
you.
and I hated my life. And you know what? There's got to be something said to be a Pirates fan in today's time, because they haven't been good in decades. And even with Andrew McCutchen, first of all, did you see the Andrew McCutchen home run ball that the kid caught?
I did not.
Andrew McCutchen hits like home run number 300 or something to that. I think it was 300. And kid catches the ball in the stands. It happens to go to a Pirates fan. And basically the kid came down, met Kutch. And I mean, Andrew McCutchen is a class act. When he was here in Philadelphia, he was a class act. And, I think baseball has players like that just, they make kids and the next generation fall in love with their sport. And, that kid is a Pirates fan for life now. He could move to Poughkeepsie, New York, and still think Pirates.
Well, I tell you what, your Phillies put it on the White Sox today.
Yeah, 8-2.
With the score of 8-2, yeah.
8-2 went the Phillies today in South Philadelphia. They get ready to go on the road tomorrow to Cincinnati. Go play the Red Stockings.
And I tell you what, the Cardinals took a 2-0 loss to the Brewers. And look, over the past few years, the Brewers have been putting pieces together to get that team to where it's at.
I literally only listen to Brewers games on the radio when Bob Uecker is in the booth. Other than that, I could not care any less about the Brewers. I love listening to Bob Uecker tell baseball stories.
I love listening to Bob Uecker in the movie Major League, too.
Amanda Price listening to you and I here cheering on Sean Rogers. Boss man Jonathan Leach saying, drive, drive, drive. How about we talk, John? Perhaps about a raise. Working lap 145 of 188 here at Talladega Super Speedway. The Stacy Strong Cup Series works 145 with Dave Regal and Alan Bergen here in the broadcast booth. We're just about ready for green flag pit stops. We're going to see them in about 10-15 laps, as we've had a couple of takers early here, but nothing major just yet. Derek Heitman has been our race leader for what seems like most of this race. Patrick Gitter picked up the Stage 2 win. Matt DiCiani and RJ Root, the Team Conti drivers, all 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, they go. as now the field is getting strung out just far enough that it's causing iRacing to glitch.
And the glitch returns. As Paul Hill is on the inside there, he is trying to get that inside line organized just enough to make up some ground, as he's essentially back to the P6 right now as they work around a lap car. And Dave, you know, you mentioned it at the top of the show, we mentioned it off air. About 4 to go was when we'll really start to go racing here.
Yeah, 4 to go is pretty much when we're going to see, you know, whether or not the men are men or the goat's scared. Steve Herring out here trying to muscle around in 24th position. Still up 15 from where he had qualified. A couple of drivers didn't make the field tonight. Bennett Allen, John Crow, Ryan Samuelson, Jeff Carson, Rafael Rodriguez, as we only had enough room for 40 and 45 came to race. So those guys taking an early Sunday night, maybe flip on the old tube and watch us right here on YouTube.com. Derek Heitman leads the way, though, just ahead of Patrick Gitter, and we're going to ride along with Gitter here. Gitter's going to get one heck of a shove here onto the rear of Heitman. And here they go at 200 miles per hour going into turn 3 and 4. Gitter's going to back off and now go for another run. Watch the speedometer here in the right-hand corner of your screen. 200 coming out of turn 4, another bump, 203 into the tri-oval, and now he backs off to about 194. Here they come at the line, 208 into the corner, and now he's going to back off. This is going to be an incredible move. Watch this speed as he rolls out of 2 and wham! Wow. Right into the back of the 76.
I wonder how many times they practice that.
Well, according to RJ, he had 3 hours of practice. So I'm sure that Gitter and Heitman have been doing it just as much, if not more, as they work 149, about to be 38 laps to go this time by. I'm Dave Regal. And we're under caution for the first time. Oh, wait, my. Let's see what happened with Eric Papineau. We were about to go to commercial. Here's Eric Papineau. Watch him on the low side. That black and yellow Meineke machine. As we're trying desperately to see what happened. And unfortunately, this racetrack... looks like Papineau, and I can't say, I think that's Sean Rogers there in the 44, scooting away.
Well, I will say this. It took almost 150 laps to get a caution flag.
Well, this is going to be interesting. 38 laps to go. It's about go time for pits. What do you do?
You take the pit stop now. With 38 to go, I'd imagine you'd have enough. If you took the pit stop now, it would be super, super close. And then you just pit for gas on the next round.
Yeah, I think you can get tires this time around. It'll be slow enough. Everybody's going to be watching what the leaders do, as it looks like Gitter's going to come down, and here they come. Wholesale pit stops underway here during our first caution for cause of the evening in the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, live here on Sim Racing Media. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here. I'm Dave Regal, he's Alan Bergen, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
So hi, my name's Christy. I am a wife, a mother of 3 children. I am a sister and an aunt of lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm also a substitute teacher. So my everyday life changed by going to appointments, a lot of appointments, a lot of scans. As like during the treatment, my body just got weaker, so I wasn't as active with my children and with my husband. So I was laying on the couch a lot more. I'm an active person, and so that just didn't sit well with me, but that's how it changed. My body was just weaker, and I couldn't do the things that I used to do. So there was a lady in where I live from a local church who had heard that I had breast cancer, and she sent me a letter just reaching out for support, and she actually said that she's the one that told me about Trisha's Hope and that I should contact them, so I did. So specifically, I wasn't able to really work during my treatment or anything like that, so the grant that I was able to get helped me pay my bills, provide gas money. I was driving to and from treatments, and so it helped a lot with bills and everything. I would just say I am so grateful for Trisha's Hope and for all the people that have donated, because I don't know what I would have done without them.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on. Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
No back into the fence. They're still beating and banging. And to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer, and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, where Patrick Gitter has assumed the race lead. We're back from our only caution for cause of the evening. Dave Riegel and Alan Bergen with you here in the broadcast booth just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. As, of course, we've been battling connection issues all night long, which we do at almost every superspeedway and every race that we have at a superspeedway. But right now, this lead pack of cars is just kind of waiting. They've got 30 to go here at the line right about now. And, you know, we have to remember that the start-finish line here at Talladega is down in the dog leg just outside of the center of the tri-oval. And the idea from Big Bill France when he built this racetrack was, you know, at every racetrack it's always easy to sell those seats right in the middle of the tri-oval. And, you know, of course, over at Daytona, the other super speedway and the sister track to here at Talladega, they never have a problem selling right around, you know, the middle of the tri-oval at the start-finish line. But those seats down in turn one, you know, down toward turn one, they're kind of hard to sell. So what did he do? He moved the start-finish line down beyond the middle of the tri-oval, and all of a sudden, now you can sell all of the seats in the front. On the front stretch here. Of course, you know, you get people that are able to see the cars coming out of turn 4 right in the middle of the tri-oval, and of course down toward the start-finish line. And speaking of the start-finish line, it's still going to be a mad dash to get there as Patrick Gitter now dips out of the way of Derek Heitman for just a moment. The 6 car of Paul Hill here pushes just behind the 90 of Anthony Savignano, and Savignano hasn't been up this high all day long, and now here he is getting a good push from Paul Hill. The biggest mover of the day is Paul Hill, up 26 after starting in 32nd, has battled his way up here into the top 10 as we work lap 160, so 28 to go. Alan, what do you think? Have we seen the last stop here?
Nope, because we almost hit our second caution now, as Savignano is getting those pushes from Paul Hill in that 6 car, and it's almost like Savignano is having trouble holding that wheel straight, or Hill is having trouble squaring up onto Savignano there.
Going to ride along here with the drone cam as they go down the back chute and into turn 3 and 4. They go 3 wide. The 93 of Tane Hodison sits between Mike McConville and the 88 of Michael Witt. The 93 in all kinds of disturbed air at this point just needs to hang on for dear life as he moves through this piece. This is not a smart... At this point, you're riding here in that middle line going, this was not a smart idea, and all of a sudden... you're holding on, hoping that nothing bad happens to you as we try to ride along here on the nose of the 93. Come on! Remember how you said I was low-key frustrated? Now I'm high-key frustrated.
Well, I can tell you right now, 3 cars in this field, Patrick Gitter, Derek Hyman, and Matt DiCiani, they are not having connection issues, as RJ Root is looking to get in on this party.
Without a doubt, as Mike McConville rolls it out of turn 4. He's going to lead Sean Rogers here in the 44. Amanda Price cheering him on in the YouTube.com live chat. Let us know who you're cheering for tonight, as our YouTube live chat is always open and ready for more viewers. We want to welcome everybody in and thank you for making us a part of your night here on in your home and on your phones here on Sim Racing Media. As we stay green flag racing here on 163. Looking back here, Steve Herring in the 89. As of course now I want to look at Steve Herring. I can't get him. Oh,
it's a beautiful
this is fabulous.
red
Let's
Monster
take a ride in the
Energy.
hills of Alabama, shall we?
I love that red Monster Energy drink 90 or that number 89. And believe it or not, Dave, that was my dad's racing number when he raced street stock some years ago.
I always wondered why you chose 89 for your car number.
That's why. It's a family number.
Me personally, I'm not a fan of Monster Energy. I hate to say that. I know that it's not a popular thought, but I've become extremely partial to Celsius, specifically the peach green tea. That's delicious. And of course, Ghost Energy, the Sour Patch Kids Red Berry Ghost Energy. But Celsius has quickly become one of my favorite energy drinks, and it's not bad. It's very good. Of course, it always leaves me being thirsty for more, and that's fine. I'll just plug my body with more vitamin B.
Yep, three years of street stock racing. My dad did, and he drove a 81, 82, 83, and he drove a Mercury Montego.
Wow, a Montego.
A Montego.
Now all of a sudden, DiCiani being told to go. They're trying to gap themselves away from the 44 of Sean Rogers. It's almost like Team Conti knows when bad things are going to happen. I don't see RJ Root. Where the heck is he? There he is, back here in 8th position. This is the furthest away that he's been from the rest of the Team Conti drivers.
Holy cow. RJ Root's setting up to do RJ Root things. He's going to be there at the end. As we are on lap 166 still. Oh, we almost had calamity, and someone got a bad bump there. I believe that was a 97 there. Nope, it's Kavaja Holt. And that 93 car is the one doing all the bumping.
Tane Hodison doing all the bumping here that my partner is talking about, and quite frankly, it's all but impossible to get a good lock on these cars right now because the field is so spread apart.
It is very hard to get a good lock.
If
on
this was the Starship Enterprise, we'd be taking power away from the shields or away from the phasers to try to reroute it to the shields.
I love it. I love it.
As we work lap 167, we're just about at 20 to go. A lot of these drivers are going to start to, we'll see deeper in the field, these drivers starting to make their moves to try to get themselves into position to make a run at the leaders. But they won't take that run at the leaders just yet, as it's just simply not time.
No, you don't want to go too early.
That's what she said.
But here comes Saviano on the inside line. He can score. Oh, he gets into Derek Heitman, and the Team Conti cars are all involved as we have our second caution.
And I can't see a darn thing of it.
Saviano got a bad bump.
Looking for Savignano here on the racetrack. There he is. He's not going the right direction. He's got to get up here on the racing surface. Let's see if we can find what happened here. Unfortunately, it's all but impossible due to iRacing. The cars just simply can't be drawn. That's going to cycle RJ Root up here to the lead with 20 laps to go.
That's a tough
I'll tell you what
break.
I'm going to do here. We're going to get a hold of RJ. Hey, RJ, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, so long story short, we've got some connection issues because of trying to draw all these darn cars and all of the space on the racetrack tonight. What happened there with Savignano?
He just got a bad push from Sean. I don't know exactly what happened, and I just saw a car get turned to the right, and I went all the way down to the apron.
Well, at least you got yourself down to the apron. We couldn't see a darn thing. As soon as all hell was breaking loose down there, iRacing decided to puke all over the screen.
That's the worst.
Trust me, we've been dealing with it all night. But listen, good for you as you're going to sit up here in the lead. No pit stop, it looks like. So are you all settled in for the end now?
Yep, we are not going in again. We're about 4 laps to the good on fuel. And just now I got no teammate.
It's okay. Let me do it for you. I'm going to put the rest of the league on notice right now. RJ Root's got the lead at a super speedway. Get out of his way. Just stay out of the way. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's going to be. I'm going to pick somebody, push him to the lead, keep him in the lead, and then pass him on the last lap.
Attaboy. All right, brother man. We will chat with you later. We appreciate the insight from the wreck.
I appreciate it.
I can always count on somebody, especially like RJ, to give us a little bit of a breakdown on what happened, especially when we can't see it. There's only a couple of drivers that I think I'd trust for clear and unbiased analysis, and he's one of them.
Boy, I think now that I've come back down from that high octave I just hit, when those guys wrecked, holy cow, that was insane.
Well, you could see it, but I couldn't, so thanks. So helpful.
Hey, I'm here to inform and entertain, just like you are.
I just don't understand what causes this junk.
Oh boy, a lot of patience.
Yeah, more patience than the only doctor in town, that's for sure. 19 laps to go. Let's see if we can get a hold of somebody else here. Let's get a hold of Sean Rogers. We've called his number a couple of times tonight. Now it's time to find out what the CSS driver is up to here on the racetrack. Hey, Sean, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
So what are you thinking as we come in here to the end of stage 3? I mean, this race is finally wrapping itself up. Just 2 cautions for cause tonight. What's going to be the strategy as you've got a pretty tall order to fill as you've got to get around McConville and RJ?
I'm just trying to survive. I'm not sure what happened in that last wreck. I know I had a hand in it, but I don't know how big of one. But yeah, just survive to the end. I know that things are gonna definitely start getting dicey. No more riding around in lines. That's over.
Yeah, to say that the crazy is going to be cranked up is probably an understatement.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, it looks like Amanda's, of course, cheering you on as usual here in the YouTube.com live chat. And, it's always cool when we get to see those same names pop up every week. That means that she at least supports you in this hobby that we all have here on iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. And her birthday was yesterday, so big shout out to her. And, obviously I love to have her, watching every week, supporting me. And so, yeah, it definitely makes it a lot more fun.
Good, man. Make sure that you wish her that literally a worldwide happy birthday. You can't get away from that one.
That's right.
All right, buddy. Listen, good luck the rest of the way, and maybe we'll see you here toward the end of this race.
I hope so, man. Have a good one.
That, of course, the voice of Sean Rogers, always cheered on by Amanda Price in our YouTube.com live chat. And if you are watching us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, let us know who you're pulling for tonight. And right now, I would be remiss if I didn't say I'm pulling for RJ Root. He's one of my favorite drivers in this league. He was one of my favorite drivers to watch race when I drove in this league. And I remember being in a practice session one time, and he wants to make everybody else around him better. And, that, for me, is probably the loudest speaking characteristic of any athlete, whether in sim or in real life. That you want the other people around you to be better, because that makes the competition more fun. And right now, we're going to crank up the crazy as the competition is about to heat up, as RJ is going to bring us here into the tri-oval. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. We see the field come into the tri-oval. RJ hits the Geico restart zone, and we go back underway here as the flag waves.
Here we go. We have a whole new different race now. 17 to go. RJ Root's going to get out to the early lead. Wow, here they come thundering down the back straightaway.
I was about to say, watching these cars come down the back straightaway is always something interesting, as everybody's just trying to figure out where they want to go as they come into turn number 3. It looks like RJ is going to retain the race lead. Mike McConville running in 4th, leading that bottom line. We're not done just yet as they come out of turn number 4 back toward the front straightaway. And RJ Root, as we look from above here at our chopper cam, leads Bobby Anderson and Tanner Marty, names that we've talked about briefly tonight, but now get a piece of the action here up in the lead as we are 16 laps to go.
16 to go. And I got a new driver I'm rooting for right now, and that's Mike McConville in that number 1 car. How big would it be if Mike McConville drove that 1 car to victory lane tonight and see a DEI car back in victory lane at Talladega?
Oh, that's very true. I mean, listen, usually when I see Mike McConville, it's all about Cape May, New Jersey, because quite frankly, it's a cool little beach town down there in South Jersey, and right there at the very tip before it becomes Delaware. Great, we're in Delaware. What are we going to do today? It's Delaware. But of course, then all you have to do is drive 20 minutes north and you're in Jersey. On the way to Cape May. Do you know that song? Are you aware of that song, or is that just a Northeast kind of thing?
It's a Northeast kind of thing.
You got to look it up. It's On the Way to Cape May by
Whoa!
Al Alberts. Go ahead, look that up right now. I won't sing the song, but we are under caution. Something Wong. Ken Ron, Matt Mackett, and Kavaja Holt seem to be involved in this one. Now, all of a sudden, caution's going to be starting to come a little bit more frequently, as cautions do breed cautions. Let's see if this replay works. We're going to watch Richard Pruitt in the 24 if we can. Nope, we can't. But we thought about it. Richard Pruitt goes sideways. Ken Ron involved. And unfortunately, iRacing has made replays completely impossible tonight. Are you looking up the song?
I am. I got lyrics. On my way to Cape May. You don't want me to sing.
We don't want you to sing the song. Just understand that it's just a fun little ditty that somebody wrote like 60 years ago. And every time I've ever driven to Wildwood, Cape May, or anywhere in South Jersey along the Garden State parking lot way, I wind up singing that song like an idiot the entire distance. The best part is nobody could hear me do that off the air.
Nice.
RJ Root going to be our race leader. Bobby Anderson in P2, Tanner Marty 3, and Mike McConville, whose town has eschewed our chuckling here, running in P4. They're going to be rows 1 and 2 when we get back green flag racing in the next few laps. Let us know in the YouTube.com live chat who you think can get her done, as we're going to get a hold of Big Mac here. Where's he at? There he is. Hey, Mike, what's up?
I'm on the way to Cape May.
Yeah, see, look at you. This guy right here. You know, I never really thought about it, but apparently that's just an us kind of thing. It's these weirdos from the middle of the country have no idea what the song is.
Oh yeah, dude. When I talk to the shoe beasts that come from the West Coast or the Mid-East or Midwest, they're like,
whoa, shots fired.
Whoa, my bad.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever. What are you talking about? You're a crazy person. Like, I live in South Jersey. I know.
Listen, we've got Al Alberts and On the Way to Cape May and Bobby Rydell with that damn song for Wildwood. It's a classic. But listen, here you are. You're going to be restarting in P4. We've got 13 to go as it stands now. It should be about 11 to go when the green flag flies again. What's going to be the strategy for the one car when you go back racing?
I'm going to glue myself to the back of this 18 and pray he can take a big, meaty push. Because we're going to be...
Just spit on it first so that you get a little bit of slip slide around back there.
Whoa, PG, sir, PG.
I didn't say a thing that was wrong. Fire me.
All right, you like to spit on your meat. That's
I'm just saying that look, I just finished a cheesesteak over here. I ate half a cheesesteak in like a 4-minute period during a commercial break. I'm doing pretty good.
I gotta ask, you a Cheese Whiz guy or provolone guy?
Provolone.
See, I'm the weird guy apparently, 'cause I like whiz.
I do not like the whiz. It makes it all soggy and nasty, and it falls apart, and it becomes a friggin' disaster.
Where'd you get them from?
Now, I go to a place called Alex's Steaks here in East Narda. It's like 3 blocks away from me. It's pretty good. We also have a place called Pudge's, which makes like a 2-foot-long large that is just enough to put you into a coma. You will get the meat sweats.
I do like meat sweats.
But I had our boss man here from SRM back in September. He came up here from Michigan, and I took him down to Pat's because
tourist spots.
Well, I mean, he's a tourist, so it doesn't really matter. But I'll tell you what, it was one of those nights where I walked into Pat's and I'm like, yeah, I guess it's Whiz Wit today. But it is what it is. Everybody likes it their own way. The thing I've never been able to get my brain around is the breaded wings.
No, that's weird. Why do you want to add bread to wings?
Yeah, I don't get it. It's a southeastern PA thing. But listen, buddy, good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully we see you here on the podium. Go ahead and glue that nose of the number 1 onto the back of the 18.
We're going to be in victory lane or in the grandstands.
My man. All right, good luck, brother.
Appreciate you.
Well, as you guys drove over cheesesteak, we're gonna come back to green. And I tell you what, Mike, there, Dave, the only thing that's better than cheesesteaks is toasted ravioli.
I've had that. That's not bad. RJ Root going to bring us back to the green flag. The iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. RJ comes through the infield here in the tri-oval. Hits the Geico restart zone. He waits. He drops the hammer, and we go back racing. 12 laps to go.
Well, Mike McConville is getting up through the gearbox. Here comes RJ Root. Go to the outside. He's going to make the car 5 lanes wide. Here comes that 59 car, or 29 car rather. And that is the 29 car.
That's Tanner Marty here with Sean Rogers just behind. We're going to ride along with Rogers as he's going to be bumping the bejesus out of the 29. That's Tanner Marty just ahead of him. They're trying to get themselves up to speed here, but we can see Mike McConville, who we were just speaking with, doing exactly what he said he wanted to do. He's going to draft himself right up here to the rear of the 18. And we're going to look just behind him. He's got plenty of distance between himself and the 44. So now he, the 18, and the 7 can start to run away with this thing as we are 10 laps to go here at the line. Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, representing South Jersey. And the rest of us here from southeastern PA in the 1 machine. He's got RJ Root just ahead of him. And if you're anybody, you want to be RJ Root with Bobby Anderson on the rear bumper. I mean, Bobby's got all kinds of tire nastiness around him, and he's not done yet, as we're going to watch Bobby Anderson try to stay as close as he can to RJ Root.
Nine to go when they come to travel. RJ Root doing RJ Root things, bleeding those speeds. Driver out of Gloucester, Virginia. Don't look now, there's Matt DiCiani back up there. He's riding on an inside line, he's making a recovery.
RJ Root leads this pack here with 9 laps to go down the back chute. He's got Bobby Anderson in tow with Mike McConville bringing up the rear. Matt DiCiani, the Team Conti teammate of RJ Root, coming to the rescue, being shoved along here by the 94 of Chad Sanner. That has to be a welcome sight for RJ, but at this stage in the race, all bets are essentially off as team orders are bring home the checkered flag, bring it home now.
Well, I tell you what, it's hard for Mike McConville to be on the back bumper of that 18 car. When that 18 car is on the back bumper of RJ Root, if I'm RJ Root, you need to step down and get on that bottom lane and let DiCiani get back up there to you.
I can't see who this is, but they're getting awful chippy back here. That's the 79 of Matt Gaskins. He's got the 12 of Nolan Hodgson all over his bumper. And Nolan Hodgson pushing him down through turn 4 and out onto the front stretch. He's hungry for a win. And believe me, the Lamar's Iowa native can get it done here. They're starting to spread out in front of him. That's going to allow some kind of speed transfer that's going to come off of the 79.
Can't
Watching
bump
some
that.
great racing here. Oh, man.
Giussiani has a moment.
I saw them fan out. They looked like a peacock coming down through.
Nonetheless, RJ Root still off into the sunset here with 7 to go.
The organization.
We got a caution.
Oh, no. I was going to say the organization behind RJ was starting to fall apart. Actually, it was starting to fall apart behind McConville. Gaskins kind of leading the charge there. As it looks like Randall Watkins has had himself a bad moment. Let's take a look and see what we might not be able to see because, you know, why not? Oh!
Well, there's the end of it.
Let's see if we can run this back here on the replay. And let's see if we can do this from the 80 because it looks like that's who it was.
Well, as Daniel Paulus says, that is one cooked chicken.
One cooked chicken it is. As Johnston gets into the 27, we've got 6 laps to go. Now here under caution, I know before RJ said that he was 4 laps to the good on fuel. This is going to make it even better for him. And hopefully it'll make it better for us here at home because these cars, once they come back up to speed, they're going to have to be bunched up. So that should be okay then for Xfinity to get the information back and forth here. That'd be nice.
You got Xfinity, I got Spectrum here at the house.
Michael Danks reminding us that NASCAR doesn't have podiums. Yeah, we know. Callie H cheering on from Mom, Dad, Meemaw, and Papa in Hawaii. They're all cheering on Nolan in the number 12, Nolan Hodgson, of course. Let's see where old Nolan is right now. He runs right now in 6th position from Lamar's, Iowa. And we see him here nice and relaxed here behind the wheel as we spin around. So Nolan's not too upset tonight, that's for sure, as he's got himself all nice and comfy here in the cockpit of that number 12 Ford Mustang. Going to be about 3 laps to go when we go back green flag racing here. RJ Root with control of the lead. He's going to have Bobby Anderson and Mike McConville. And McConville seemed pretty determined that this is going to be an all or nothing situation coming to the checkered flag. And I'll tell you what, now they've got themselves all bunched up. He's going to have an even bigger opportunity now to make hay here.
You're not wrong, and you know Nolan Hodgins, the driver out of Lamar's, Iowa. Yeah, Dave. I get nosy and I look things up. 8 hours north of St. Louis. They're in the middle of Iowa, smack dab, and surrounded by farmland. So,
well, Nolan's got a shot here. We've seen him be successful in this league already this year. And, he wants to try to add to that trophy case as the iRacing.com pace car brings us across the start-finish line. The lights will go out, and that means that with 3 laps to go, we will be green flag racing in a mad dash for the end here. It's going to be Root, Anderson, McConville, Gaskins, Hodgson, Witt, Hodison, Heitman, Jett, and Long, your top 10.
Big Mac says he's trophy hunting today.
Look, you can be trophy hunting all you want today. This is the kind of place where you're going to make a statement. You're going to make, that correct move here at the end of this race. And that's what's going to get it done as we ride along with Mike McConville. As he gets the opportunity here to kind of look around and see the drivers that he's going to have to do battle with. We see Matt Gaskins in the Voltec Industries Ford Mustang on one side. We see the Interstate Batteries Ford Mustang ahead of him, and this pair of Chevrolet bow ties running on the low side. And it looks like RJ opting to take the low line this time as we come into turn 3. These drivers are all starting to get a little nervous here in the twilight of this race.
Look, you got 3 to go. And if you're RJ Root, you got Mike McConville. Mike McConville needs to be glued to the back bumper of that 7 car for them to have a 2-car breakaway. But you do got Bobby Anderson and the 79 car of Matt Gaskins. So you got the Ford teammates and the Chevy teammates, but you really got to get the right push.
Well, and here's the thing. McConville's going to have to leave just enough space between himself and RJ, where on that last lap you can try to slingshot your way around the car in front of you, because if you can hang back and then lay into the throttle coming down the back chute, if anything really out of turn 3 and 4, you stand to do all right trying to slingshot around as the green flag waves. 3 laps to go.
Whoa!
We stay green flag racing. These drivers now searching everywhere for real estate on the racetrack. Mike McConville, as he said, is going to be all over the bumper of RJ Root. We come out of turn 2 down the back chute. All of a sudden, the 18 now of Bobby Anderson not giving McConville any opportunity to try to back off the bumper of RJ Root. We stay green here going into turn 3. And here goes Matt Gaskins on the low side.
The high side's really come in.
Gaskins couldn't get Hodgson to come along with him. As there it is, the 2-car breakaway you were just talking about between Root and McConville. Big Mac here taking a run as he's riding just behind RJ Root. We're 2 laps to go. The popsicle sticks are in the air.
Now's not the right time, Mike.
There's that. No, well, but here's that distance now. McConville's going to back off just a hair. Come on. McConville backing off just a hair. I don't understand how he just got into the high line.
And that's going to hurt his run. There's something wrong with that 1 car.
Something happened with Mike McConville. He's tumbling through the stands, through the standings.
Here comes
Gaskins now just behind RJ Root. They come out of turn 4 through the trioval. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers.
Come on, buddy.
Now the race finally begins. RJ Root towing Matt Gaskins around here in the 79. They've got Nolan Hodgson just behind him. Michael Witt now making a run toward the win. Oh, this is really Oh, there's someone sideways.
And that's going to give the race to Michael Witt. If he can make it
Michael
back.
Witt's got Derek Heitman behind him. Heitman not done yet, as he's got the 77 of Rich Jett behind him. Rich Jett up 35 positions from where he had started this race. I don't know what happened back there, but right now this is Michael Witt's race to lose as he's pushed down the front stretch. Derek Heitman swings out to the outside. They're side by side. They make contact coming into the trioval. Michael Witt side by side with Derek Heitman, and it's going to be Derek Heitman for the win.
Have you ever?
Oh my goodness. Let's take one more look at that.
Maybe.
Maybe. Trying to pull this up at half speed here. See, the white flag is here. Waiting to see. Here comes. There we go. Now we'll get this nice and easy. I mean, Heitman had to have been just barely a hair ahead of Michael Witt.
I mean, you can't get any closer than that. 1/1000th of a second.
Yep. Now we're going to get a hold of Heitman as hopefully all these guys get themselves down here. Move him on down. Michael Witt. And Rich Jett making his appearance here on the podium. Well, I don't see Michael Witt. Hopefully he... Oh, there he is. Hey, Derek, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
What's going on?
Man, what a finish. What a show you put on here. It's not even the last lap, but like the last eighth of a lap that you put on, and you get around Michael Witt side by side, all kinds of mayhem breaking out behind you. Congratulations on the win. How do you find yourself here tonight?
I don't even know how I got up front, guys. My car was, I had 5 minutes of damage after we all got wrecked in the lead. And I got fixed all the way down to 50 seconds. And as soon as that last restart there, I decided to just figure out who was going to stay on my nose. And I was going to keep it in the bottom because everybody else wanted to be up top for some reason. Nobody wanted to try to get a bottom lane going. And I knew that as long as I was the car pushing, I was going to have a shot to win it. And I pushed Mike all the way through all the side drafts, all the way up to the front stretch. And then when we got in the tri-oval, my temps were over 300. I was almost blowing up. And then I was like, all right, well, if I'm gonna make a move, I gotta do it now. So I just pulled out and somehow made it work.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes just to try to make it work. You know, when you pull out at just the right time, you know, all things can go, you know, in your direction. And tonight you wound up being on the lucky side of that. I mean, you know, a fairly clean race overall for these drivers tonight. What say you, at least from your perspective, even though you get wrecked out of the lead, you were still able to get up, you know, back up there. How was it getting through traffic?
I mean, really, I was kind of bobbing and weaving and probably making some moves that people weren't too fond of seeing me make, but I mean, I had to get some kind of track position to be in position here at the end. And then once that last restart happened, like I said, everybody jumped to the top except Mike in front of me. Or I think he came down in front of me. I don't even remember. As soon as he got to my nose, I literally said, I'm not lifting one bit. My temperatures were so good because I actually lost a draft off the back of him from my car being damaged, and I didn't have a car behind me. So when I launched that draft, my temps went all the way down to like 220 at the start of when we were starting the last lap. So I knew I had enough just to shove him through whatever I needed to shove him through.
Well, man, listen, it was a harrowing journey, you know, on the recovery drive, so congratulations on you for that. And before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank as we get ready to move on to Dover?
I need to thank everybody in this league. I mean, we went caution-free, all the way up until like 30 or 40 to go, so I'm just glad it's not 11 o'clock and we're getting done with this race. So shout out everyone there. Shout out all my teammates. Everybody running the Team Conti logo tonight did an excellent job. We were really controlling the race until things went, you know, a way that we couldn't control. Shout out Chris, you know, for putting on the league. I mean, it takes a lot to put on a league like this. It costs a lot of money. And shout out Michael Conti for giving us a good setup every single week. And shout out to you guys in the booth for putting on a good show for the people watching.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, one more time, congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Dover Motor Speedway.
Thank you.
And Alan, I believe you have with you now, as we get him out of there, you should have Mike Witt with you.
Hey, Mike, Michael Wick, how's it going? This is Alan and Dave in the SRM booth.
Man, all right. I mean, I'm happy with the finish. Don't get me wrong, man. That was pretty awesome. But, man, I would have loved to have that win.
Well, I'm gonna put a number 1/1000th of a second between you and Derek Heitman. That's how close the finish was.
Yeah, I hadn't even I seen on the results tab here where it's 0.007, and I was like, man, I was so close. But honestly, man, I've got to say this was an awesome race. Was able to, for the most part, keep my nose clean and be there at the end, which was my plan. So, and then have a finish like that, even though I'm on the worst side of that, but it was still pretty awesome to be a part of that, especially with this league really starting to grow. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I think my voice went up an octave when you guys are coming to the checkered. I'm still picking my jaw up off the floor after Derek Heitman gets wrecked out, and you're pretty much up there in the front most of the day. Now we move on to Dover, Delaware. We got off the super speedways. Now we're back to the 1 mile concrete oval. What's going to be your strategy as you go into next week?
Well, honestly, this has been one of my favorite tracks to race at. Period. I've not been as good in the next gen car that I was with the old car, but my plan is to really work on just saving tire the best I can without falling back too far, and then really working on qualifying, trying to start up front, because I think it's going to be huge, and try to stay out of. I'm sure there's going to be some wrecks, but my plan is just go in it, work real hard this week, put a lot of extra laps, because like I said, it is one of my favorite tracks, and so hopefully, worst case, I come out the top 5.
All right. Well, good job, Michael. Is there anybody that you'd like to thank to help get you here tonight?
Yeah, I think it's on screen. PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, also my teammates over at Ironman. Man, we tried to work together as much as we could throughout the whole race, and it seemed like slowly we just kept getting ticked off. So I want to appreciate them. I want to appreciate my wife. She lets me do this, man. If it wasn't for that, I can tell you I wouldn't be nowhere near this good. So it's always there at the house that helps me get better. And appreciate you guys as well.
All right. Yeah, we definitely need to shout out our significant others and our loved ones for letting us do this. But Michael, with that being said, have a good night, and we'll see you at Dover.
All right, sounds good. See you guys next week.
Yep.
Well, and last but certainly not least, here on our podium tonight, out of Schwanksville, Pennsylvania, driving the double natural, that's 77. It's Rich Jet. Hey, Rich, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hoy, yes, I do.
Hey, man, listen, great run tonight for the 77. I mean, you wind up being one of the biggest movers of the night, clawing your way up through the field. Take us through that, and how do you find yourself on the podium after all that battling?
Just wanted to survive. The first 2 stages were stay on the lead lap, and have no damage. Succeeded in that, and then the third stage was see what happens, and got some pretty bad damage, and somehow got back up there. I don't know how. I guess the racing gods were looking down on me and sprinkling me with some luck to get up there.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to get down here to Alabama the way that you did and make things happen. I mean, we went so many green flag laps, and I mean, the cautions, the stage cautions came out just like they should, on schedule. The pit stops were just right. This was almost, for lack of a better term, a perfect race. What else did it look like from down there on the asphalt?
It was a fast race. I remember in the beginning, about still was like 128 to go. I was like, man, it feels like we already ran like a whole race. But yeah, it went by really quick. The no yellows in the first two stages really made it go by fast, and but you had to be all on it and the entire time, especially even just one pit stop, one little mistake, and you'd lose a lap, and you'd lose a draft, lose another lap, and you'd be clawing. But me and my two other teammates, John Wilco and Steve Herring, managed to stay out of that for a little while, but we all didn't get through it all.
All right, man. Well, listen, before you head on down to Mauricio's for a celebratory pizza, who do you need to thank for tonight's run?
I got to thank Steve Herring, John Wilco, great teammates. Got to thank you guys for always putting on fun little broadcasts. Chris, all the other admins of the series that, enforce everything. It's been, I'm sure, a little difficult with trying to enforce some newer rules that we've all kind of started to adapt to. But it's good that we're all kind of getting a little more, seeing a little bit beyond the horizon of some good racing, because there's good racing when we have it, but when we're all fighting and arguing, it could be not fun.
Absolutely. Jeez. Absolutely, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish tonight. We'll see you next week at Dover Motor Speedway for what's kind of like a home racetrack for you. So good luck next week, and we'll see you then.
Thank you, guys.
Couldn't get him out of there, and of course there I am starting to hack up a lung out of nowhere, as I think I swallowed something while I was eating earlier. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We want to take a quick peek here one final time at our race results as Derek Heitman brings home the checkered flag. He's joined on the podium by Michael Witt and Rich Jett out of Schwanksville, Pennsylvania. Bobby Anderson finishes in fourth, while Chad Sanner wraps up the top five. Matt Long finishes in sixth, with Dalton Mobley close behind in seventh. Chris Claude, in his best finish of the season so far, out of Fairview, Tennessee, finishes in eighth position. Keith Long in ninth, and Eric Papineau rounds out your top 10. Nolan Hodgson and Kavaja Holt finish 11th and 12th, while Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, finishes in 13th. Matthew Gaskins, Tane Hodison, and John Wilco finish 14th through 16th. Anthony Savignano in 17th, and R.J. Root mysteriously finishes in 18th after a strong run earlier in this race. Sean Rogers out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, wraps it up in 19th, with Steve Herring making up the top 20, Alan.
And 21st, Paul Hill. 22nd, Matt DiCiani, not having the run that he wanted to have. Tanner Marty will bring it home 23rd. Ken Ron will bring it home 24th. Timothy Cook will bring it home 25th. And 26th, you'll have Matt Mackin. Alexander Gangler will bring it home 27th. 28th will be Stephen Cornez. 29th will be Chris Custer. Dylan Banks will be bringing home P30th. Let's see, Mark Johnston will bring it home 31st. 32nd will be Randall Watkins. Patrick Getter will bring it home 33rd. Not the night that he wanted to have. Richard Pruitt will bring it home 34th. Mike Prechik will bring it home 35th. Randy Belk will bring it home 37th. 38th will be Ron Fitting. Tyler Sexton will bring it home 38th. And winning the race to the beer stand will be Noah Hamilton. He brings it home 39th. And Diego Rodriguez will bring it home 40th. He will actually win the race to the beer stand.
188 laps in the books tonight, and Alan, what a race it was tonight here in Lincoln, Alabama at Talladega Superspeedway. We want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and of course remind you that tomorrow night we'll be right back here on Sim Racing Media at 8:30 p.m. for MNN Xfinity MNN Xfinity Series Racing live here at Talladega Superspeedway. So for myself, Dave Regal, and everybody else here at Sim Racing Media, we want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones, however you may be watching and listening. We thank you for tuning in tonight on the youtube.com live chat and live feed. And tomorrow and every day as you go through and walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.